Warrior Lore. Chapter 629. The resplendent saber gleam condensed and slashed toward the Yinyang realm elder with the force of a mountain. Back in the days, Lin Feng hadn't even broken through to the Huangqi layer, but he had already understood a spirit and could oppress cultivators of the top of the Huangqi layer. Moreover, Lin Feng was now at the peak of the 7th firmament martial king realm. Perhaps even Lin Feng himself didn't know how strong Lin Feng was. The resplendent saber gleam slammed down. An earth-shattering bang was heard. Lin Feng and the old man of the yin and yang layer collided. Thump, thump, thump. Both of them took 3 steps back. The entire room instantly fell into a dead silence. A martial king realm cultivator had actually blocked the attack of a yin-yang realm expert. This was simply unbelievable. Will, Saber Will, the masked woman in white, who was called Saintess by the beautiful woman, had a shocked expression. Spirits were originally very difficult to comprehend. Those who could comprehend spirit were geniuses. If he wanted to advance spirit to will, it would be even more difficult. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, Lin Feng, a martial king realm cultivator, had actually advanced his spirit to will. How could the masked woman in white not be shocked? Even she had been trying recently, but she had failed after many attempts. Isn't that kid too terrifying? He actually blocked the attack of a yin-yang realm expert? At that moment, the cultivators who were watching the commotion finally came back to their senses. They looked at Lin Feng, who was standing in the pavilion, in shock. Even the yin-yang realm cultivator who had attacked frowned slightly. Junior brother Lin, you're already this strong? The disciples of the Blue Cloud sect looked at each other. They had heard that the top 3 inner sect disciples on the Blue Cloud sect's Heaven and Earth list also had the strength to fight a yin-yang realm expert, but they had never seen it. They felt that the rumors were definitely fake and couldn't be taken seriously. After all, those who hadn't entered the yin-yang realm were ants in front of yin-yang realm cultivators. Until today, when they saw Lin Feng make a move, they finally believed that those rumors were true. There would always be a small group of people in the world who possessed unimaginable power. And obviously, Lin Feng was such a person. Wu Xiu'er, Lu Gu, and Ma Yong's eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Thinking back to how they had mocked and ridiculed Lin Feng before, how stupid was that? Mo Yuning also smiled bitterly. He was also considered a genius within the sect. But in front of Lin Feng, there was simply no comparison at all. Old you. Kill this brat. Otherwise, what will happen to our Flame Dragon Gang's dignity? Li Yanlong walked out of the private room with a gloomy expression. He looked at Lin Feng with a cold expression. You want to kill me? Let's see who will win in the end. Lin Feng's lips curled into a cold, murderous smile. When Li Yanlong saw Lin Feng's sneering expression, he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Don't worry, leader. Today, I'll take this brat's life for you, said the old man. If you want to fight to the death, let's go outside and fight. Don't destroy my Wanhua building. A woman in white clothes with a veil over her face walked over, surrounded by a dozen people. Bai Xingyi, that's the holy maiden of the Wanhua building. Rumor has it that she's a peerless beauty on the beauty list. Someone was astonished. The beauty list had a total of 100 women on the Tianwu continent. Those 100 women not only had incredible talent and astonishing strength, but they were also as beautiful as fairies. They could compete with the fairies of the 9 heavens. Any one of the women on the beauty list could be said to be beautiful enough to bring disaster to a country. Some people felt that it was a pity that they couldn't see Bai Xingyi's beauty. So it's Bai Xingyi. The elder obviously knew Bai Xingyi. His expression turned serious. The 10,000 flower building was a terrifying force. Even though they were all women, they had used beautiful women to win over many strong cultivators. There weren't many groups in the Tianwu continent who would dare offend the Wanhua building. Brat, come out and die. The old man looked at Lin Feng coldly and took the lead to run outside. Be careful. Lin Feng looked at Shi Weizhu and the others. They all looked very pale. Don't worry, sir. Before you decide the winner, no one will touch your fellow sect members. If anyone dares to touch them, they'll become enemies with the Wanhua building. Bai Xingyi said. Li Yanlong, who had wanted to gather strong cultivators to capture the disciples of the Blue Cloud sect to threaten Lin Feng, suddenly changed his expression when he heard Bai Shengyi's words. Even though he was a local tyrant in the northern wasteland city, Li Yanlong didn't dare offend the Wanhua building. "Thank you." Lin Feng cupped his fists. Then he flew out. "Oh my god, a martial king cultivator is going to fight a yin yang cultivator to the death. Let's go and see who's going to win." That old man of the yin yang lair is called Yu Buayun. He's been famous for a long time. Even though he was injured in his early years, he's still a strong cultivator of the yin yang lair. He's still a strong cultivator of the yin yang lair. Cultivators of the yin yang lair can't compare to cultivators of the yin yang lair. That's right. I think so too. That boy will die at Yu Buayun's hands. Many people were talking about it. In their opinion, Lin Feng had no chance of winning against the yin yang cultivator. Under the night sky, Yu Buayun was standing in the sky. Lin Feng had a pair of energy wings on his back. Following a violent collision, the flame lion in the sky was torn apart by the three Cheong Qis. What a terrifying secret technique. It actually broke Yu Buayun's heavenly flaming lion technique. Seeing this scene, many people shouted in shock. They simply could not believe that all of this was real. However, this was indeed happening before their eyes, so they had no choice but to believe it. The three Cheong Qis growled and leaped out, pouncing towards Yu Buayun. Yu Buayun obviously did not expect this to happen. He was unable to react in time and was forced to retreat by the three Cheong Qis. Die. Thinking that he was forced to retreat by a secret technique used by a martial king cultivator, Yu Buayun could not help but feel extremely humiliated. He roared and attacked the three Cheong Qis with his palm. This was Yu Buayun's angry attack. At this moment, Yu Buayun seemed to feel strange gazes on him. Those gazes seemed to be mixed with mockery. He was a yin-yang realm existence, but now he was forced to retreat by a martial king cultivator. He could imagine that this news would spread quickly in the northern desolation city. At that time, he would definitely become a laughingstock. Bang! In his rage, Yu Buayun's attack was naturally very terrifying. That attack ruthlessly slammed into the bodies of the three Cheong Qis, directly blasting them apart. Then, Yu Buayun rushed towards Lin Feng as fast as lightning. A huge ball of energy condensed above Yu Buayun's palm. It was an energy ball formed by condensing Dharma power. Once that energy ball exploded, it would definitely cause a terrifying amount of damage. Lin Feng felt an extremely oppressive feeling from the energy ball. It was an aura of death. Lin Feng knew that Yu Buayun's attack could probably kill him. He did not dare to hold back and hurriedly condense the Dao character, Destroy. Waves of destructive power began to surge out of Lin Feng's body. When Lin Feng used the Dao character, Destroy, Bai Shengyi seemed to have sensed it. Her beautiful eyes suddenly revealed an extremely shocked expression. Could it be? Her voice trembled slightly. Destroy. Finally, in the void, a Destroy character emitting the aura of Dao was condensed. That Destroy word directly blasted towards Yu Buayun. Bang! The Destroy character and the energy ball that Yu Buayun had condensed collided violently. Then, waves of destructive aura surged out and swept in all directions. The energy produced by the crazy collision surged in all directions. Lin Feng and Yu Buayun were both hit by the energy shockwave, and both were sent flying. Lin Feng was sent flying for more than 1,000 meters before he managed to stop himself with difficulty. Yu Buayun was also sent flying for more than 700 meters. Below, countless cultivators were dumbfounded. Lin Feng's combat strength was too terrifying. Everyone was incomparably shocked in their hearts. Wasn't this guy too monstrous? If he didn't die, he would probably become a powerful figure who dominated a region in the future. Yu Buayun naturally knew this as well. Watching this, a look of horror appeared in his heart. 3 consecutive blows, each of his moves was stronger than the last. However, he was still unable to gain the upper hand. Wasn't this kid too terrifying? If he continued to grow, when he broke through the yin-yang realm, wouldn't he be able to kill him instantly? Since there was already a grudge between them, there was no reason to let him live. Thinking of this, Yu Buayun's killing intent grew stronger. He activated the Dharma power in his body to the extreme. An even more violent Dharma power surged out. Yu Buayun was obviously going to use his strongest attack. It seems that I have to use my last secret soul skill. Lin Feng's face was a little pale. After using the destroy character, Lin Feng already felt tired and weak. But obviously, Yu Buayun was still in peak condition. This was the biggest difference between the Martial King realm and the Yin-Yang realm. A Martial King realm cultivator couldn't compete with the Yin-Yang realm cultivator in terms of energy consumption. Look, Yu Buayun is going to use an even more powerful attack, but that young man's chi seems to be much weaker than before. He's been using Love You so many times. His body must have reached its limit, said Lin Feng. That's right, that guy has reached his limit. This is troublesome. I'm afraid he won't be able to resist Yu Buayun's attack. Many cultivators also saw Lin Feng's situation and couldn't help but talk about it. Many people even felt that it was a pity. A genius like Lin Feng might die here. With such talent, it was really a pity to die here before he could mature. Boy, I'll definitely kill you this time. Star Fist, shouted Yu Buayun coldly. He punched out, and a huge star appeared above him. He pushed the star forward, wanting to use it to crush Lin Feng. Use the soul secret technique and burn my immortal divine blood to stimulate my body's potential. Kill him, thought Lin Feng fiercely. Lin Feng's greatest trump card was the drop of immortal divine blood that had awakened in his body. Once it was activated, Lin Feng would receive an unimaginable amount of power. Of course, it would also cause great harm to Lin Feng. If he burned his immortal divine blood, it would be much more difficult to awaken it again. He might never be able to awaken it again, let alone awaken his immortal divine blood. But now, Lin Feng was in a critical situation. He couldn't afford to waste any time. Lin Feng clenched his teeth. He was about to burn his immortal divine blood, but at that moment, a cold laugh came from a restaurant not far from him. Yu Buayun, you're a yin-yang cultivator. Since you said you could kill that little boy in 3 attacks, then 3 attacks have passed. Chapter 631. Demonic Blade. Why have you come to Northern Desolate City? Demonic Blade. Are you trying to do some shady business in Northern Desolate City? Demonic Blade. Northern Desolate City isn't a place where you can act as you wish. You should know that there's a space-time wormhole here. If you act recklessly here, you'll become the public enemy of the entire desolate region. After the demonic saber appeared, it shocked too many people. Many figures soared into the sky from all directions. They were all at least at the Yin-Yang realm, and there was even an almighty expert among them. More than a dozen people surrounded Demonic Blade. They were all experts from various factions in Northern Desolate City. Now, so many people had surrounded Demonic Blade Nailanjing, but the experts surrounding Nailanjing all looked as if they were facing a great enemy. On the other hand, Demonic Blade Nailanjing looked indifferent. Lin Feng's facial expression didn't change even when Mount Tai was about to collapse. Lin Feng was moved and admired him. How could such a man be a demon? Haha, I'm just passing by. Look at how scared you are. Demon Blade laughed and took out a jar of wine. With a slight shake, the cork flew out. Demon Blade Nailanjing, under the gazes of countless people and surrounded by more than a dozen experts, gulped down the wine in big mouthfuls. He was indescribably forthright. You're a good seedling for blade cultivation. Demonic Blade Nailanjing looked at Lin Feng. Swish! Everyone looked at Lin Feng, and their eyes flickered with different thoughts. Demonic Blade Nailanjing is talking to me? Should I continue the conversation? At that moment, Lin Feng was nervous. The righteous path and the demonic path were like fire and water. Demonic Blade Nailanjing was one of the 8 great demonic path cultivators. If Lin Feng talked to Demonic Blade Nailanjing in front of so many people, he might be accused of being a demonic path spy. How could he be accused of something he didn't do? That was how it was usually done. The disciples of the Blue Cloud sect shook their heads at Lin Feng, indicating that Lin Feng shouldn't reply. Once he was involved with the Demonic Blade Nailanjing, it would be impossible to clear his name. Demonic Saber Nailanjing looked at Lin Feng, whose expression was uncertain, and couldn't help but reveal a disdainful smile. He turned around and was about to leave. At that moment, Lin Feng suddenly said, I encountered an opportunity in the Thunder Blade secret territory, so I comprehended some of the mysteries of blade techniques. I didn't expect to be able to show them off in front of you today. Seeing that Lin Feng actually dared to talk to Blade Demon Nalanjing, many people's expressions changed. Brat, why aren't you backing down? The one in front of you is an unpardonable devil, shouted a yin yang expert. Lin Feng's expression did not change as he said, my heart can be seen by the bright moon. What's more, I'm just chatting with the senior who helped me. It's not a big deal, is it? Could it be that they were just chatting for a while? Will he turn into a demon? Brat, what did you say? The yin yang expert who had been rebuked by Lin Feng's words immediately became gloomy. He coldly looked at Lin Feng and said, I think your thoughts are very dangerous. If you don't wake up in time, you'll fall into a demon's path sooner or later. Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer and say, Seniors, you're really meddlesome. This is my Blue Cloud sect's disciple. It's not your place to meddle, is it? Haha, well said. Blade Demon Nalanjing saw that Lin Feng had rebuked the yin yang expert and immediately laughed loudly. He couldn't help but look at Lin Feng with admiration. Brat, since ancient times, honest advice has been unpleasant to the ear. You're still young and are easily bewitched by demons. You should think twice before you do anything. Otherwise, if you really fall into a demon's path, even the Blue Cloud sect won't be able to protect you. Another yin-yang realm cultivator sneered. Lin Feng asked, Senior, you said that I've fallen into a demon's path. May I know how I'll fall into a demon's path? Won't you fall into a demon's path if you're with a demon's path? The yin-yang realm cultivator sneered. Lin Feng continued asking, Senior, can you tell me why Senior Blade Demon Nalanjing is known as one of the 8 great rogue cultivators of the tyrannical Tao? This person cultivates a demon's blade technique. He once killed 376 cultivators in the South Sea world. If he's not a heinous demon, then what is he? The yin-yang realm cultivator sneered. Junior once heard that there's no good or evil in cultivation techniques. A person's heart is divided into good and evil. If a person's heart is kind, even if they cultivate a demon's technique, they can still benefit others. If a person's heart is evil, even if they cultivate a righteous technique, they can still become a demon who kills without batting an eyelid. Lin Feng said. When he heard Lin Feng's words, Blade Demon Nalanjing's eyes lit up. Many people were pondering Lin Feng's words. The big shots floating in the air sneered. A few of them even scolded, Brat. You're twisting the facts and twisting logic. If you don't back down, we don't mind helping the Blue Cloud sect clean up the sect. Ha 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 ha. Lin Feng suddenly laughed. What are you laughing at? The big shots shouted angrily. I'm laughing at the fact that you're all a bunch of demons, Lin Feng said. Arrogant brat, you dare slander us? The big shots were so angry that their faces turned ashen. Lin Feng said indifferently, Senior Blade Demon Nalanjing is a demon who kills people. Is it natural for you to want to kill me? How can there be such logic in this world? Brat, how dare you compare us to this demon? I think you've already become a demon, shouted one of the big shots angrily. Lin Feng sneered and said, Let me ask you, since you started cultivating, have you killed less than 1,000 people? Ask yourselves, since you started cultivating, which one of you hasn't had blood on your hands? It's natural for your hands to be stained with other people's blood. Why is Senior Blade Demon Nalanjing a heinous demon who kills people? The world of cultivators is a survival of the fittest. In this world, who doesn't have blood on their hands? Is Senior Blade Demon Nalanjing a demon just because he practices a so-called demon blade technique? Well said. Many people were already applauding Lin Feng's words. Indeed, most of the time, demons were created by these big powers. They needed to create enemies to support their righteous image. The big shots looked at Lin Feng as if they wanted to cut Lin Feng into pieces. Haha, I didn't think that someone would try to exonerate a demon like me today. How interesting. Brat, do you dare to drink wine and admire the moon with me at the peak of Northern Desolation City? Lin Feng laughed loudly. Why wouldn't I dare? Let's go. Nalanjing soared into the sky and flew towards the tower in the distance. It was rare to be so arrogant. If he didn't act arrogantly today, when would he? His heart was clear to the moon. A straight foot was not afraid of a crooked shadow. Chapter 632. Above the tower, a cold wind blew. In the distance, Many cultivators followed, especially the important figures. Their eyes were cold. Lin Feng was calm and collected, drinking and singing with Nailan Jing. This caused many people to feel their hearts tremble. How many people could drink with a demon cultivator like old friends under the watchful eyes of so many strong cultivators? Not to mention other things, just this state of mind, not to mention the cultivators of the younger generation. Even those big shots would not be able to do this, right? But Lin Feng had done it. Holy maiden, this person is crazy, the beautiful woman whispered. Bai Xingyi smiled and said, this person is truly terrifying. As long as he doesn't die, he will become a great person in 10 years. Holy maiden, you seem to think too highly of this person. The beautiful woman said, I don't think so. On the contrary, I think this person is worthy of my evaluation. Bai Xingyi said, damn it, damn it. If it wasn't for Nailan Jing, this brat would have been killed by me. Yu Boyun's expression was extremely gloomy. Beside him, Li Yanlong's gaze was also extremely gloomy. Now that they had offended someone like Lin Feng, if they didn't get rid of Lin Feng soon, he would definitely be a huge threat to them. If we want to act now, it won't be easy. Send someone to find out what these people are going to do, then think of a way to deal with them on the way. Li Yanlong's voice was filled with dense killing intent. Yu Boyun nodded slightly. What do you think is a demon? What is the right path? Nailan Jing suddenly asked, looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, the difference between good and evil lies in the heart. Nailan Jing smiled and said, no, good and evil lie in the eyes of others. Lin Feng was deep in thought. Nailan Jing's words were indeed very reasonable. As the saying went, public opinion could kill people. Perhaps this was how the saying, 3 men make a tiger, came about. If one person said that a good person was a bad person, others might not think so. However, if 2 people, 3 people, or even more people said that he was a bad person, others might say that he was a bad person. In my early years, when I practiced the demonic blade, I almost became demonic. I don't know if the person is controlling the blade, or if the blade is controlling the person. Nailan Jing suddenly talked about some things he had experienced in his early years. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, he remembered the ancient devil ring that he had thrown away. That was a supreme treasure of the demonic path. But at that time, the ancient devil ring wanted to control him and enslave him. Demonic cultivators are not rare. Maybe they don't have bad intentions, but they've been enslaved by demonic cultivators, and it's difficult for them to free themselves. Nailan Jing sighed. But senior, it's clear that you're not enslaved by demonic arts. Lin Feng said, in the past, I wasn't a demonic cultivator. I was an abandoned disciple of an ancient sect. Later, I accidentally obtained the demonic blades cultivation method. I had 2 paths to take. The first was to give up on cultivation and continue to be a cripple in the eyes of the world. The second was to practice the demonic blade. Nailan Jing looked as if he was recalling something. Senior, you chose the second path. Lin Feng said. Nailan Jing said, that's right. I chose the second path. When I practiced demonic arts, I imprisoned myself in the depths of the sea to resist the demonic nature in my body. I endured the pain of 10,000 demons devouring my heart. Senior, you wanted to use demonic arts to overcome demonic arts. Many demonic cultivators wantonly slaughtered people because they wanted to take a shortcut? Lin Feng asked. Nailan Jing nodded and said, they didn't have the courage to resist the demonic nature in their hearts, so they were controlled and became demons in the eyes of the world. But there were also many people like me who would rather die while resisting the demonic will than become a true demon. Lin Feng was filled with respect for Nailan Jing and the people he was talking about. How could those who dared to resist the demonic will be demons? Those people's willpower was probably extremely strong, because resisting the demonic will was enough to make them break down mentally. Why did they say that you were a demon? Asked Lin Feng. Later, I managed to control the demonic will. Once, I met a fellow disciple of mine. We fought, and I defeated him. Then, he sent strong cultivators from his sect to kill me, said Nailan Jing. He pointed at his severed arm and said, back then, I had just started practicing the demonic blade, and my cultivation level wasn't very high. I was constantly being chased, and my cultivation level gradually increased. Later, I was surrounded on an island, and my arm was cut off. At the moment of life and death, I reversed the demonic blade's cultivation method and killed more than 300 people who were chasing me. Lin Feng said, everything in the world has a cause and effect, but it's just a personal grudge. There are too many things like that. There's no need to label you as a demon, is there? In the beginning, of course, I wasn't a demon. Nailin Jing smiled disdainfully and said, later, my cultivation level gradually increased, and I became a demon. Lin Feng shook his head and said, good and evil aren't in people's hearts. They're in the mouths of many great powers. That's right. There's no such thing as good, evil, or demon. There's a scale in one's heart. A demon isn't necessarily a demon, and a righteous cultivator isn't necessarily a demon. A hidden demon is even more terrifying, Nailin Jing said indifferently. Lin Feng drank and chatted for a long time. Obviously, Nailin Jing admired Lin Feng. It's time for you to confirm your own Tao. Many people reach the yin-yang layer and still don't know what their Tao is. People like that won't be able to achieve anything in the future. The sooner you establish your own Tao, the better it will be for your future cultivation, said Nailin Jing. His own Tao? Lin Feng was slightly moved. Nailin Jing had also mentioned that he should establish his own Tao. Previously, when the peak master of the heaven-mending peak, Jibutian, left, he had also warned himself to establish his own Tao as soon as possible. But Lin Feng didn't understand what that meant. Senior, please enlighten me, said Lin Feng. Tao is the foundation of cultivation. In the future, when we practice cultivation, we must follow Tao. I've heard that when the Thunder Blade mysterious territory opened, the Eternal Emperor's corpse appeared. The Eternal Emperor's Tao was the Eternal Tao. He used the Eternal Tao to create some terrifying spells. For example, he used the Eternal Tao to create some terrifying spells, said Nailin Jing. Lin Feng was moved. Was this his own Tao? Establishing a Tao would be the foundation for his future cultivation. It would also be the foundation for all kinds of peerless techniques. The next day, Lin Feng said goodbye to Nailin Jing. He and the disciples of the Blue Cloud sect entered the teleportation portal and headed to Ancient Man City. Chapter 633. They came out of the transportation array in Ancient Barbarian City. Thump, thump, Mo Yuning, Ma Yong, Lu Gu, and Wu Xiuer knelt in front of Lin Feng. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, people came and went. Many people came to watch and point at them. What's this for? Lin Feng frowned. Junior apprentice brother, it's all our fault. Please forgive us. The four of them said in unison. Wang Hu sneered. With junior brother Lin's cultivation level, killing you is like squashing an ant. Junior brother Lin didn't hold it against you, but you still went overboard. We know we were wrong. The four of them actually kowtowed to Lin Feng. Even a genius like Mo Yuning kowtowed to Lin Feng and apologized. Lin Feng originally had a lot of complaints about the four of them. They were only mediocre. Not only did they criticize him behind his back, but they also caused so much trouble for him. However, seeing them apologize so sincerely, Lin Feng forgave them. After all, they were all from the same sect. Who didn't make mistakes? They knew they were wrong and could change. Lin Feng was quite satisfied. Get up, speak less and do more in the future. Lin Feng said. Yes, yes, yes. We are willing to do anything for junior brother in the future. We dare not go east if junior brother wants us to go west. The four of them hurriedly promised. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. The four of them seemed to have changed a lot after what happened in northern Wasteland City. People who didn't know better would think that the four of them were Lin Feng's servants and not Lin Feng's fellow sect members. The beast carriage traveled through the forest. Lin Feng lay on the carriage and looked at the blue and white sky. He was in a daze. The words my Tao still lingered in his mind. Just like the eternal divine Lord, he had established his eternal Tao. What kind of Tao should he create? This was related to his own future. Shi Weizhu looked at Lin Feng and sighed. Junior brother, why did you get involved with Demon Blade Nailin Jing? I'm afraid that people will use it against you in the future. Indeed, brother. Even if you don't think that Na Lan Jing is an evil cultivator, In the eyes of all the influential groups, he is an evil cultivator. I'm worried that when I go back to the sect will punish me severely, said Lin Feng. Wang Hu said. Lin Feng said, your worries are unnecessary. The higher-ups of the big powers all know what's right and what's right. Most of the time, it's just a trick to deceive the ignorant. You should be able to judge. Shi Weizhu, Wang Hu, and the others nodded. They also felt that a person like Devil Saber Nailin Jing was not an evil demon who would not commit any evil. Junior brother, there's a small town ahead. It should be the northern barbarian town. Should we go there and rest? A disciple asked. All right, let's rest in the northern barbarian town for a day. We'll continue our journey tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll enter the ancient barbarian forest. Dangers lurk everywhere, so everyone must be careful. Lin Feng reminded everyone. Yes. Lin Feng nodded and followed everyone to Northern Barbarian City. Northern Barbarian City was the last town before the ancient barbarian mine. Lin Feng planned to buy some necessities there. Everyone found an inn to stay in. Lin Feng let everyone do whatever they wanted. He didn't stay in the inn. Instead, he went to buy some necessities. In the northwest corner of the northern barbarian town, a fat middle-aged woman and her skinny husband threw out a quilt and some yellowed books. After that, the two sons of the man and woman chased an old man out of the courtyard. That's elementary scholar Ning, right? What a sin. Elementary scholar Ning is so old, but he's being chased out. Immediately, there were people pointing and discussing animatedly. The shrew-like woman cursed, you old bastard. You've been studying for decades. You don't even try to get a scholarly rank. Do you want to eat and live for free until you die? Hurry up and pack your things and scram. Jiesheng, do you want to chase me out too? Elementary scholar Ning got up from the ground and sighed. The skinny man called Jiesheng sneered, go as far away as you can. Don't let me see you again. What's going on here? Lin Feng saw that the old man who had been chased out was very pitiful, so he asked a bystander. This old man is called Ning Yin, and his courtesy name is Shu Hai. He's a scholar in our town, and the people who chased him out are his nephew and niece-in-law. Scholar Ning's wife died early in his life, and he never remarried. Later, Scholar Ning's elder brother died of illness, and he adopted Ning Jiesheng as his own son. Presumably, he would have someone to send him off in the future. Now that Scholar Ning is old, Ning Jiesheng and his wife want to chase him out of the house. There's such a thing? Lin Feng frowned. A loving father and a filial son was a good story. However, what he saw now was a loving father and an unfilial son. Jiesheng, even if you want to chase me out, you should at least give me an ox cart and let me take all these things away. Elementary scholar Ning said. The woman cursed. Ox cart? You want an ox cart? You've eaten so much that we're broke. Hurry up and scram. Do you think I won't burn all these books? Suddenly, someone couldn't stand it any longer and said sarcastically, Ning Xiaozai used to own 3 villas, 100 mu of land, and 5 shops. He's still doing well today. Now that he's old, he's given all these deeds to you, and you want to chase him away? Has your conscience been eaten by dogs? Yeah, he's an old man. How much can he eat from you? Jiesheng, your father died when you were 3. It was your uncle who raised you. Your uncle is waiting for you to take care of him in his old age. Is this how you treat your uncle? The skinny man called Jiesheng remained silent. His wife rushed into the courtyard and took out a kitchen knife. She cursed coldly, what does it have to do with you? I'll see if anyone dares to meddle in our business. Do you think I won't chop them into pieces? Seeing the unreasonable woman holding a kitchen knife, many people shut their mouths. After all, it was not their family's business, and there was no need to argue with the other party. They just felt sorry for old Scholar Ning. Elementary Scholar Ning looked pleadingly at Ning Jiesheng. Jiesheng, on account of your uncle's kindness in raising you, please give your uncle an ox cart. Let your uncle take these books away, and in the future, your uncle will never appear in front of you again. Ning Jiesheng frowned and looked at his wife. Where's the ox cart? Where's the ox cart? Old thing, hurry up and scram. The woman raised her right hand and was about to hit Elementary Scholar Ning. Impudent. Just as the blow was about to land on Elementary Scholar Ning's body, a young man leaped out and grabbed the woman's wrist. You dare meddle in our business? I'll chop you to death. The woman waved the kitchen knife in her other hand towards Lin Feng. An evil woman like you deserves to die, said Lin Feng, smiling coldly. He threw the woman away. Bang! The woman slammed into the wall, causing it to collapse. The woman was buried under the rubble. Her body twitched a few times before she stopped moving. No one knew if she was dead or alive. It's a cultivator, someone whispered. Although the residents here were ordinary people, in the world of cultivators, even ordinary people knew a thing or two about cultivators. Spare me, spare me. Ning Jiexing and his two sons saw how powerful Lin Feng was and were so frightened that they fell to their knees. Sir, are you all right? Lin Feng looked at elementary scholar Niu. Elementary scholar Ning shook his head and said, Thank you for saving me, young friend. Please don't blame them. Why do you have to say good things for them? Yes, elementary scholar Ning, you're too kind. Some of the neighbors were talking amongst themselves. The evil woman squinted her eyes and secretly looked over. She was really tenacious. When she saw Lin Feng looking at her, she immediately pretended to be dead. But since elementary scholar Ning didn't want to pursue the matter, Lin Feng naturally wouldn't pursue the matter. After all, this was elementary scholar Ning's family matter. Jiexing, give me a cow and I'll leave this place and never appear again, said elementary scholar Ning. Said Ning Xiaocai calmly. Lin Feng could see the pain in Ning Xiaocai's eyes, but Ning Xiaocai quickly covered it up. Chapter 634. Ning Jiexing pulled the ox cart over and took out 100 taels of silver and gave them to Ning Xiaocai. Ning Xiaocai did not refuse and kept the items. Lin Feng helped Ning Xiaocai put the scattered books on the ox cart. Scholars. Lin Feng's impression of them was that of scholars in the secular world who worked hard to study and achieve scholarly honors. Perhaps Ning Xiaocai was such a person. However, in this world of cultivators, where the strong were respected, becoming a powerful cultivator was something that everyone yearned for even in their dreams. Relatively speaking, there were still a lot fewer scholars. In fact, Ning Xiaocai was the first scholar that Lin Feng had met. Thank you, young friend. Ning Xiaocai bowed. Lin Feng said, Sir, you're too kind. Where do you plan to go in the future? Ning Xiaocai said, I plan to go to Bamboo Mountain and build a straw hut. I'll plant flowers and grass every day, read and write, and live the rest of my life. Sir, you're already old. If you don't mind, I still have some strength left. I hope I can help you build the straw hut. Lin Feng said, Thank you, young friend. Ning Xiaocai said gratefully, Sir, you're welcome. Lin Feng helped Ning Xiaocai onto the ox cart and then led the green ox towards Bamboo Mountain. On the way, Lin Feng met Wang Hu and a few other disciples. He told them that they would leave for the ancient barbarian mining area tomorrow and that he would be there later. Wang Hu and the others nodded in agreement. Bamboo Mountain was about 100 miles away from northern barbarian town. There was a dense forest of bamboo. There used to be a mountain deity temple in Bamboo Mountain, but it was now in ruins. Lin Feng repaired the mountain deity temple and built a 2-story bamboo house next to it. Bamboo houses can't keep out the cold in winter. Sir, you can stay in the mountain deity temple during winter. Although the temple is a bit run down, it can keep out the cold after some repairs. Lin Feng said. Ning Xiaocai said, You've helped me a lot, but I don't have anything to repay you with. I have a book here called Talk About Gods and Devils. I spent 30 years writing it. Please accept it. With that, Ning Xiaocai took out a book. Rumors of Gods and Ghosts? Lin Feng was surprised. Have a tiger in your heart, sniff the roses. Have justice in your heart, and no ghosts or gods can invade you. Scholar Ning said. Lin Feng pondered deeply over elementary scholar Ning's words and felt that they made a lot of sense. He couldn't help but think to himself, who said that a scholar is useless? The more these scholars read, the more they could see the essence of things. That night, Lin Feng did not leave immediately. He helped elementary scholar Ning to make some wooden furniture and then set up a few formations around the area. If any ferocious birds or beasts came, the formations would be activated and would be able to exterminate the birds or beasts. That night, Lin Feng sat cross-legged. The oil lamp emitted a faint light and the book, Talk About Gods and Devils, was placed in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng opened the book and found that Talk About Gods and Devils recorded many stories about gods, demons, and ghosts. The first story went like this. A scholar who was rushing to take an exam passed by an ancient forest. There was no one there, and in the forest, there was a dilapidated temple of a mountain god. The scholar burned incense for the mountain god and then read through the night. As he read, his body was enveloped in a vast righteous aura, which attracted many spiritual beasts from the forest. Reading to this point, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Vast righteous aura. Lin Feng had seen an introduction in the records of the heavens. It said that Confucian cultivators cultivated vast righteous aura. Vast righteous aura was, of course, easy to understand. Reading nourished one's qi, mind, and thoughts. With justice in one's heart, one would develop vast righteous aura after reading. Even among ordinary scholars, there were some who could cultivate awe-inspiring righteousness. However, for ordinary scholars, even if they could cultivate vast righteous aura, they couldn't use it because they didn't know how to cultivate. Lin Feng continued reading. It was written in the Talk of Gods and Devils that the scholar's overwhelming righteousness not only attracted spirit beasts, but also demons and devils from the forest. Therefore, the demons wanted to eat the scholars to increase their cultivation. Right when the demons were about to attack, the mountain god in the temple suddenly came to life and repelled the demons, protecting the scholar. This story is quite interesting. The mountain god is a form of spiritual sustenance, not a real manifestation. How could it come to life? Lin Feng slightly shook his head. He read the contents of the book as a story. Lin Feng found that most of the contents were related to the scholar. At that moment, Lin Feng read something else, and his attention was drawn to it. It was written that one day, a prime minister named Liu went out for an inspection. Wherever he went, there were evil spirits causing mischief. These evil spirits wanted to take the prime minister's life. When the prime minister boarded the boat, a sudden gust of wind blew from the lake. Evil qi roiled, and the evil spirits were boundless, wanting to capsize the prime minister's boat. However, the prime minister shouted, "The righteous path of the world is filled with vicissitudes. Demons dare to cause chaos in the world. They must be punished." As soon as the word punished was spoken, miserable screams rang out one after another. The demons hiding in the dark fell from the sky and died in the lake. The violent gale and demonic energy also disappeared. Someone asked, "Prime Minister, you've never cultivated before. Why did you kill all those demons with a single roar?" The Prime Minister replied, "I've been studying for 50 years. I've cultivated vast righteous aura in my heart. Naturally, demons can't get close to me." "It's really mysterious," Lin Feng muttered. These stories were indeed very interesting, but Lin Feng didn't believe the contents of the stories. Lin Feng composed himself and continued reading. It turned out that after the demons suffered heavy casualties, they weren't willing to admit defeat. Thus, they used their evil methods and summoned 3 female ghosts. These demons sent the 3 ghosts to deal with Liu late at night. Liu was reading in his room when the 3 ghosts transformed into 3 peerless beauties and came to him. The 3 seductive women twisted their serpentine waists and were extremely charming. They wanted to seduce Prime Minister Liu and then bite him to death. But when they got close to Prime Minister Liu, they saw Prime Minister Liu's body emit an aura of righteousness that forced the 3 ghosts back. The 3 ghosts immediately reverted to their original forms. They snarled, "We came here to eat you. Aren't you afraid of us?" Liu replied, "I'm not afraid of crooked shadows. I'm not afraid of ghosts knocking on my door in the middle of the night." Everyone says they aren't afraid of ghosts, but who wouldn't be afraid of ghosts? The 3 ghosts screamed and pounced on Liu. At this time, the purple qi in Liu's body spread for 3,000 miles. Vast righteous aura. The 3 ghosts were so scared that their souls left their bodies. They trembled and begged for mercy. "Fine, I'll enlighten you and let you reincarnate." Liu's voice fell, and he sent a stream of righteous aura into the ghosts' bodies. The demonic aura disappeared from their bodies. They thanked Liu profusely and flew out to be reincarnated. Chapter 635. Lin Feng had read a lot of books and read a lot of interesting stories. Lin Feng couldn't help but admire Ning Xiaocai. It wasn't easy to come up with so many stories. If they were printed and told by storytellers in restaurants and tea houses, they would definitely become popular. The next day, Lin Feng bid farewell to Ning Xiaocai. He still had to rush to the ancient barbarian mining area. The ancient barbarian mining area was located deep in the mountains. Lin Feng quickly flew towards it. On the way, he saw a large group of soldiers escorting a group of over 1,000 people. Those who were being escorted were all shackled and handcuffed. There were men, women, and even children among them. Lin Feng frowned and stopped. Who are these people? The leader of the group quickly got off his horse and greeted Lin Feng. Young master, these are the criminals who were sentenced to death in the ancient barbarian kingdom. However, the immortal sect was kind enough to give them a chance to live. They were allowed to go to the immortal sect's mining area. The ancient barbarian kingdom was one of the vassals of the Blue Cloud sect. It was said that the founding emperor of the ancient barbarian kingdom was an elder of the Blue Cloud sect. Even now, the ancient barbarian kingdom's royal family was still very powerful. Lin Feng had heard that there were several yin-yang cultivators in the royal family. Furthermore, the ancient barbarian kingdom was located at the border between the barbarian realm and the barbarian realm. Barbarians would often invade the barbarian kingdom, causing wars to break out at the borders. Lin Feng nodded and continued flying towards the ancient barbarian mining area. In the afternoon, he arrived at the ancient barbarian mining area. After hearing the news, Wang Hu, Shi Weizhu, and the others quickly came out to welcome him. A dozen disciples also came out to welcome Lin Feng. The leader of the group was called Zhou Zhao. He had a medium build and looked to be around 24 or 25 years old. His aura was deep, and it was clear that his cultivation was extraordinary. You must be junior brother Lin, right? I am Zhou Zhao, the person in charge of mining area 1. Zhou Zhao smiled and cupped his fists. Lin Feng cupped his fists as well. Senior brother Zhou, thank you for coming out to welcome me personally. Zhou Zhao grabbed Lin Feng's hand and said, I've heard about you. Back in the Thunderblade secret territory, you killed the myriad immortal sect's genius, Wan Sheng, with a single slash. You made the Blue Cloud sect's pride, but I didn't expect that you would come to the ancient barbarian mining area to train. Of course, Lin Feng was surprised. Could it be that you also went to the Thunderblade mysterious world to practice, brother? Ofs. Regret. Lin Feng believed Zhou Zhao's words. He really did feel regretful. It was understandable that one would feel regretful if they missed such an opportunity. Zhou Zhao smiled and said, I heard about it from my little brother. A while ago, he sent me a letter and talked about some things that happened in the Thunderblade secret territory. I see. Lin Feng nodded. Let's not stand here. Let's talk in the living room, Zhou Zhao said with a smile. Lin Feng nodded and entered the living room with Zhou Zhao and the others. The person in charge of the ancient barbarian mining area is Elder Wu Chong from the Blue Cloud sect. However, Elder Wu Chong is obsessed with studying formations, so he divided the mining area into 5 areas. Each area is guarded by a different disciple. Before you came, junior brother Lu from mining area 5 was transferred away, so the elder assigned mining area 5 to you. Zhou Zhao smiled at Lin Feng and said, Junior brother, do you want to rest for a while before going to mining area 5? Or do you want to come with me to mining area 5 now? Lin Feng smiled and said, let's go to mining area 5 now. I'll have to trouble you to lead the way. Junior brother, you're too polite. Zhou Zhao stood up and led Lin Feng and the others to mining area 5. Mine number 5 was a mining area that stretched for more than 10 miles. The people who mined here were either sentenced to death by the ancient barbarian kingdom, prisoners of war, or people who committed serious crimes and were sentenced to be exterminated. The Emerald Cloud sect took these people from the ancient barbarian kingdom because of the goodness of the heavens. They were the cultivators that Lin Feng had met on the way here. When Lin Feng and the others arrived at mining area 5, a short and skinny disciple ran over to them. Junior brother Lin, this is Li Liang. He has been helping junior brother Zhang with some matters in the mining area. If you have any questions, you can ask him. Zhou Zhao pointed at the disciple and introduced him. Li Liang obviously knew that Lin Feng would come, So he bowed respectfully to Lin Feng. Lin Feng told him to rise, and Zhang Liang stood up. Lin Feng's first impression of Zhang Liang was that he was quite polite. Zhou Zhao said, "Junior brother, you must be tired from the long journey. I won't disturb you any longer. At night, the people in charge of the 4 mining areas will prepare a welcome banquet to welcome junior brother." Lin Feng smiled and said, "I wonder if senior brother can introduce me to Elder Wu?" Zhou Zhao smiled wryly and said, "Elder Wu said that he would wait for you before leaving, but he left a few days ago. I don't know where he went." Lin Feng nodded and escorted Zhou Zhao out of the mining area before returning. Li Liang said, "Senior brother, I've already prepared the accommodation." "All right." Lin Feng nodded and followed Li Liang to the accommodation. There was a courtyard in the 5th mining area, and the environment was quite good. There were 5 3-story wooden buildings in the courtyard, and they were the accommodation. Lin Feng and the others lived in the innermost building. The mining area is a bit simple and crude. I wonder if senior brother can get used to living here? Li Liang asked respectfully. "It's not bad." Lin Feng nodded. Li Liang wanted to say something but stopped. Wang Hu and the others knew that Li Liang had something to say to Lin Feng, so they all went to their rooms. Li Liang took out a storage pouch and gave it to Lin Feng. He said, "We knew that senior brother was coming, so we prepared some gifts. They're all worthless things, so we hope senior brother doesn't mind." "All right, put them down." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Do you have information on Elder Wu and the 4 people in charge of the mining area?" "I've already prepared them," Li Liang said as he took them out. Lin Feng was surprised. Li Liang was really watertight. "All right, you can leave now. I'll call you if I need you," Lin Feng said. "Then junior brother will take his leave," said Li Liang, bowing to Lin Feng and leaving the room. Chapter 636. 2 top-quality spirit stones and 5,000 high-quality spirit stones. Lin Feng withdrew his divine sense from his interspatial pouch and smiled. These guys were very rich. However, it was normal. The ancient barbarian mining area was one of the 3 largest mining areas in the Blue Cloud sect. It was not something an ordinary spirit mine could compare to. It was normal for the disciples to keep some of the top-quality spirit stones. Moreover, the disciples who could be supervisors in the ancient barbarian mining area were not ordinary. Maybe their cultivation talent was not very good, but their background was not simple. Maybe one of the disciples' elders was a high-ranking member of the sect. Not all of the high-ranking members of the sect were very talented. Those who were not talented would often apply to be transferred to a place where they could make money. Obviously, the mining area was the best place for them to make money. This kind of thing did not only happen in the Blue Cloud sect. Similar things would happen in many sects and clans. After Lin Feng put away these things, he opened the information that Li Liang had left behind. Wu Chang, the person in charge of the ancient barbarian mining area, a spirit array master. He was a very powerful person. The person in charge of the first mining area is Zhou Zhao. His uncle is the outer sect Great Elder Zhang Quan. He is humble and good at socializing. He has a high prestige among the disciples. Lin Feng smiled. He did not expect Zhou Zhao to have such a relationship with Great Elder Zhang Quan. When he was in the outer sect, Great Elder Zhang Quan took good care of Lin Feng. He had also helped Lin Feng. Moreover, Great Elder Zhang Quan was very optimistic about Lin Feng's future. It could be said that among all the new disciples who had just joined the elite sect, Lin Feng was the one who Zhang Quan valued the most. Lin Feng felt that Zhou Zhao might have been entrusted by Great Elder Zhang Quan to be so enthusiastic about him. The person in charge of the second mining area was called Zhou Yuding. She had a cold personality. Her mother was the 5th elder of the Alchemy Peak. Zhou Yuding liked women. Damn, Li Liang is really something. He even managed to find out that Zhou Yuding likes women. Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. The person in charge of mine number 3 was Yu Zhu Xian. Her identity and origin were unknown, but it was said that she had an extraordinary background and was very talented. She came to the mine to train because she wanted to use the huge amount of resources in the mine to break through to the yin-yang realm. This woman had always been low-key and mysterious. She had never even entered the heaven and earth list, but her cultivation was definitely powerful. Although this woman looked charming and seductive, She was actually an extremely cold-blooded person. There was once a senior brother who wanted to take liberties with Yu Zhuxin, but his dantian was destroyed by Yu Zhuxin. Moreover, this matter was left unsettled by the sect. Therefore, Yu Zhuxin was definitely a very terrifying person. The person in charge of mine number 4 was Kim Jong-K. He was the grandson of Spirit Array Peak's second elder, Jin Tianzhao. He was proficient in arrays, but he was lustful. Lin Feng finished reading these materials very quickly and could not help but shake his head. The people in charge of these 4 mines did not seem simple at all. In the evening, Zhou Zhao sent people to bring Lin Feng and the others to a banquet. Lin Feng and the others went to the banquet. They arrived at Zhou Zhao's residence in mine number 1. When Lin Feng and the others arrived, Zhou Zhao and the other 4 people in charge of mine number 4 were already waiting for Lin Feng. Haha, junior brother Lin and the others are here. Zhou Zhao smiled. Then, Zhou Zhao introduced them to each other. This is Lin Feng, junior brother. This is the person in charge of mine number 2, junior sister Zhou Yuding. This is the person in charge of mine number 3, junior sister Yu Zhuxian. This is the person in charge of mine number 4, junior brother Kim Jong-K. The 4 of them bowed, and it could be said that they were acquainted with each other. Lin Feng realized that Zhou Yuding was actually very beautiful. She was tall, had long legs, a slim waist, and snow-white skin. Her small face was also very beautiful. Lin Feng thought to himself, is such a beautiful woman's sexual orientation abnormal? Did Li Liang make a mistake? Yu Zhuxian was also a first-class beauty. Her lips were fiery red, and she looked very charming. She smiled at Lin Feng, her eyes sparkling. She looked like she was trying to seduce Lin Feng. But Lin Feng knew from Li Liang that this woman looked charming, but she was actually a cruel and merciless woman. He couldn't be fooled by her appearance. As for Jin Zhangkai of mine number 4, he was wearing a golden robe and was quite handsome. However, his eyes were slightly long and narrow, which gave people an uncomfortable feeling. Everybody, let's take a seat, said Zhou Zhao smiling. Everybody walked towards the main hall. Junior sister Shi Weizhu, I didn't think that you would come to Ancient Man Mine. After Jin Zhengkai saw Shi Weizhu, his eyes suddenly lit up, and 2 evil lights flashed in his eyes. Shi Weizhu's face turned pale when she saw Kim Jong-K. She hadn't thought that she would see him here. Lin Feng noticed that Shi Weizhu was acting strangely, and he grabbed her hand. This scene was naturally witnessed by many people. Shi Weizhu raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. When she saw Lin Feng smile at her, the fear in her heart gradually disappeared. Kim Jong-K's face darkened when he saw that. He couldn't help but sneer and walk towards the main hall. This is interesting. Yu Zhuxian smiled. The corners of Yu Zhuxin's mouth curled into a faint smile. She had more or less heard about what had happened back then. Zhou Yuding, on the other hand, gave Shi Weizhu a meaningful look. Zhou Zhao smiled wryly. He could see that Lin Feng and Kim Jong-K had some enmity between them. Zhou Zhao tried to smooth things over. He smiled and said, Everybody, don't stop. Let's take a seat. Today, we won't go back until we're drunk. Everyone took a seat. Zhou Zhao and a few beautiful female disciples livened up the atmosphere. It was quite lively. Halfway through the banquet, Kim Jong-K looked at Lin Feng and said mockingly, I heard that junior brother Lin is on good terms with senior brother Guoxiao? Lin Feng nodded and said, I am indeed on good terms with senior brother Guoxiao. May I know why senior brother Jin is talking about this? No wonder it's said that junior brother Lin was able to get the position of leader because of senior brother Guoxiao. Now, it seems that the rumors aren't baseless. Kim Jong-K said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. The disciples who came with Lin Feng sneered inside. Some of them had been in the sect for a few years and had heard about the past between Kim Jong-K and Shi Weizhu. They couldn't help but observe a moment of silence for Kim Jong-K. Did this guy not know how terrifying junior brother Lin was? He actually dared to jump around in front of junior brother Lin. After hearing Kim Jong-K's words, Yu Zhuxin's smile became even more enchanting. Zhou Yuding frowned slightly and turned to look at Shi Weizhu. Ever since Shi Weizhu had arrived, Zhou Yuding had been looking at Shi Weizhu from time to time. Perhaps it was just as Li Liang had said, that Zhou Yuding was very interested in women. Zhou Zhao said in a deep voice, Junior brother Jin, I think you're drunk. Kim Jong-K said indifferently. What? Can't I tell you the truth? Lin Feng said indifferently. Senior brother Jean is drunk. I won't blame you, but next time, don't say such drunken words in front of me, because you'll die. Lin Feng drank a cup of wine, stood up, and walked outside. Swish, the 20 or so disciples who had come with him all stood up and walked outside. This guy has quite a personality. Yu Zhuxin smiled. Threatening me? How interesting. Kim Jong-K's lips curled into a sinister smile. When he thought of Lin Feng holding Shi Weiju's hand, Kim Jong-K's smile grew wider. However, many people felt a chill down their spines when they saw Kim Jong-K's smile. Chapter 637. After returning to their residences, everyone went to rest. Shi Weiju said, Junior apprentice brother, I have something to tell you. Lin Feng nodded. Shi Weiju went to Lin Feng's room, her expression uncertain. Lin Feng naturally knew that she wanted to talk about something that had happened in the past. However, it was obvious that Shi Weiju did not want to remember what had happened in the past. That matter was most likely related to Kim Jong-K. Lin Feng felt a little heartache as he caressed Shi Weiju's beautiful face and said, You can tell me anything. As long as I'm here, no one will hurt you. Shi Weiju nodded slightly and said, I was a slave that was sold. A slave? Lin Feng frowned slightly. Shi Weiju covered her face as tears streamed down her face. Lin Feng felt a little heartache as he hugged Shi Weiju. Shi Weiju's voice trembled as she asked, Junior apprentice brother, will you look down on me? Slaves were quite common in many secular countries, and many people considered them to be the lowest class of people. Lin Feng softly replied, How could I? In my opinion, no matter what kind of status we have, it's not something we can decide. The only thing we can decide is what kind of person we will become in the future. Shi Weiju stood up and looked at Lin Feng as she said, When I was 10, I was sold to the Blue Cloud sect to be a servant. There were many people with a low status like me. The Blue Cloud sect had hundreds of thousands of disciples, elders, and deacons, so they naturally needed many slaves. In fact, many factions were like this, and they would buy slaves in large quantities to serve as servants. Lin Feng did not interrupt, and he just listened quietly. I started as a servant at Spirit Array Peak. When I was 13, Kim Jong-K saw me, and Kim Jong-K took me away. At this point, Shi Weiju couldn't help but cry. That's something I don't want to remember for the rest of my life. At that time, there were 5 sisters, and they were all taken away by Kim Jong-K. Kim Jong-K got someone to brand our backs as slaves. As she spoke, Shi Weiju took off her clothes one by one. She turned around and exposed her back. Lin Feng saw a blood-red mark about 10 feet below her neck. It was obviously branded with a hot iron. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and gently caressed the mark of a slave. Shi Weiju's delicate body slightly trembled. Then, Jin Zhengkai found someone to teach the 5 of us how to serve men. Shi Weiju's face was pale as she spoke. When I was 14, Kim Jong-K began to call my sisters one after another. They were then ravaged by Kim Jong-K. He wasn't human, and they came back covered in bruises. Finally, Kim Jong-K wanted me to serve him. Shi Weiju showed an incomparably painful expression. Lin Feng held Shi Weiju in his arms. This should be the most painful memory for Shi Weiju, right? If it was possible, perhaps she would never want to remember it. One of the big sisters found a dry well behind the fake mountain. I hid in the dry well, and the 4 big sisters covered the dry well with stones. At a glance, they couldn't see anything strange. Shi Weiju's face was pale and painful as she said, Kim Jong-K didn't see me, so he personally came to find me. No one has ever disobeyed him, but I did. Kim Jong-K was about to go crazy. He asked the 4 sisters where I was hiding. They said they didn't know, and then Kim Jong-K broke their bones inch by inch. I heard their tragic cries from the dry well. I wanted to climb up and save them, but I was trapped inside. After the 4 sisters' bones were broken by Kim Jong-K used a boning knife to cut off their flesh piece by piece. They died very miserably, but they didn't say where I was hidden. In order to cover up his crime, Kim Jong-K burned down the courtyard. I thought I would die there, but I didn't expect that a senior sister from the sect would hear my cries and save me. Shi Weizhu muttered to herself. I hid in that senior sister's residence. If it wasn't for her, I might have already been an ice-cold corpse. As for my 4 sisters, they died because of me. I'll never forget their miserable cries before they died. Paper can't wrap fire. The news of him keeping female slaves and torturing them to death spread in the sect, but who would speak up for a few female slaves? Kim Jong-K is still at large. Shi Weizhu's eyes were filled with hatred. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Since you've joined the sect, even though you were slaves in the past, you've become the sect's odd job workers. You can even cultivate in the future. If your talent is outstanding, you might even have a chance to become a disciple. Who gave Kim Jong-K the guts? Why did he let him take you away and brand you with a slave mark? Because of his noble status, he can do that. Shi Weizhu's voice trembled as she spoke. She still couldn't bear to look back on the past. Every time she thought of her 4 sisters' tragic deaths, Shi Weizhu would be haunted by nightmares. Even after many years, she still couldn't walk out of that tragic fate. She wanted to avenge her 4 sisters who had died tragically, but she was powerless to do so. Later, by chance, I was brought to Heaven Repairing Peak by Elder Qiao Yunqiu. Kim Jong-K also left the sect. I thought I'd never see him again, but I didn't expect to see that bastard here. Shi Weizhu's voice was filled with hatred. Senior sister, I'll help you. No matter what you do, I'll help you. Lin Feng said softly. He really felt sorry for Shi Weizhu. It was hard to imagine how unbearable it must have been for a young girl like her. Really? Shi Weizhu raised her head and looked at Lin Feng excitedly. Of course it's true. If anyone bullies you, I'll take their life. Whether it's in the past, now, or in the future, I'll take their dog life. Lin Feng gently caressed Shi Weizhu's face as he spoke solemnly. Boo-hoo. Shi Weizhu started crying. Her tears were like raindrops on a pear blossom, but she quickly started laughing again. She had never felt this way before. Her heart was filled with indescribable emotions. Shi Weizhu took the initiative to hug Lin Feng and kiss him. Senior sister, you're too emotional today. Don't be like this, said Lin Feng. Junior brother, let me serve you. I've learned all kinds of ways to serve men for a year, but I've never used them. Besides, no man has ever touched my body. Junior brother, I'll serve you well. Shi Weizhu took off her clothes, blushed, and threw herself into Lin Feng's arms. Chapter 638. A ray of warm sunlight shone into the room. Lin Feng looked at Shi Weizhu, who was lazily lying in his arms like a kitten. Perhaps it was because she had revealed the pain that had been hidden in her heart for many years, or perhaps it was because she had truly fallen in love with this man who cared about her, loved her, and protected her. That was why Shi Weizhu had gone crazy last night. Lin Feng put on his clothes and walked out of the room. At this time, Wang Hu came over and said, Junior brother, Senior brother Zhou is here to invite you to the training grounds. Lin Feng nodded. He knew that there was a rule in the ancient barbarian mining area that was set by Elder Wu Chang. He hoped that the Blue Cloud sect disciples would not forget to cultivate even if they were in the mining area. Has everyone gathered? Lin Feng asked. I didn't find junior sister Shi Weizhu, but everyone else has gathered. I wonder where she went. Should I look for her again? Wang Hu scratched his head and said. Lin Feng secretly thought, Shi Weizhu was so crazy yesterday. She clearly couldn't hold on, but she still kept asking. In the end, she almost fainted. She needed time to recover her strength. Lin Feng said, There's no need to look for senior sister Shi Weizhu. She went out this morning to help me with something. Wang Hu was a little confused. What could be done in the mining area? However, he also knew that he shouldn't ask questions that shouldn't be asked. Lin Feng and Wang Hu went outside. Seeing that everyone had gathered, Lin Feng smiled and said, Let's go. It's our first morning training. Don't be late. Then, the group of people chatted and laughed as they walked towards the training grounds. When they arrived at the training grounds, Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, Zhou Yuding, Kim Jong-K, and the rest, as well as their disciples, were already there. TSK, you really know how to put on airs. You actually made so many people wait. Kim Jong-K curled his lips and sneered. Zhou Zhao's expression darkened slightly as he said, Junior brother Zhou, stop talking. Kim Jong-K was obviously not afraid of Zhou Zhao and couldn't help but curl his lips. Lin Feng said indifferently, I don't think I'm late, right? Since I'm not late, I'll have to trouble those who are farting shut up. Don't smell us in the morning. PFFF, many disciples couldn't help but laugh. Lin Feng's expression suddenly became serious. Of course, of course, of course, junior brother, said Lin Feng indifferently. Of course I've heard about it. The morning exercises in the mine are a competition between disciples. Of disciples, of course. Jin Zhengkai sneered. Junior brother Lin, you're already a leader at such a young age. I'm sure you must be very powerful. How about exchanging a few moves with you? At this moment, a tall disciple walked out from Jin Zhengkai's side. This person was called Chu Yi. He was in the 8th heaven of the Martial King realm, the disciples who had been in the mine for many years. Even if they weren't very talented, they could still use spirit stones to increase their cultivation. However, with their talent, it was almost impossible for them to break through to the yin-yang realm in the future. Chu Yi had obviously been arranged by Kim Jong-K to humiliate Lin Feng. This time, Zhou Zhao didn't say anything because he knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. But Kim Jong-K obviously didn't know. If you really think that junior brother Lin's battle strength is the same as his cultivation, then you're gravely mistaken. Let's see how you'll suffer. Zhou Zhao couldn't help but sneer inwardly. He also had a lot of complaints about Kim Jong-K. Because Jin Zhengkai was a spiritual array master, he was highly regarded by Elder Wu Chang. Because of this, Jin Zhengkai did not put Zhou Zhao in his eyes at all. This was not the first time he had refuted Zhou Zhao's face. How could Zhou Zhao not have any complaints about Kim Jong-K? Now that he saw Kim Jong-K recklessly offending Lin Feng, Zhou Zhao couldn't be bothered to do anything. He couldn't wait for Kim Jong-K to suffer at Lin Feng's hands. Seeing that Lin Feng didn't say anything, Kim Jong-K sneered. He thought that Lin Feng was afraid. Kim Jong-K said sarcastically, "Tsk tisk, it's just a friendly exchange. Junior brother Lin doesn't dare to? I heard that junior brother Lin went to the Thunderblade's secret territory. It's dangerous there, but junior brother Lin was able to stay there for a year. Could it be that junior brother Lin hid in some corner for a year?" Haha. The disciples next to Jin Zhengkai burst into laughter. They were looking at Lin Feng with disdain in their eyes. Junior brother Lin doesn't need to do anything to deal with these people. I can deal with them myself, said Mo Yuning when he saw that Kim Jong-K was going overboard. Mo Yuning wasn't convinced of Lin Feng's strength before, but after what had happened in Northern Wasteland City, Mo Yuning was convinced of Lin Feng's strength. Naturally, he didn't want to see Lin Feng being humiliated by Kim Jong-K. Tsk, if you ask someone else to do it, it'll be too boring, said Kim Jong-K indifferently. Lin Feng smiled and said, Senior brother Mo, did you see that? Senior brother Jin's meaning is very clear. We can't ask someone else to do it. How about this? If you want me to do it, I'll do it. But if there's no prize, it'll be too boring. How about this? Let's all use something as a prize. That's a good idea, junior brother Lin. I think we should add something to it. Yu Zhuxin smiled. Junior brother Lin, what are you going to use as a prize? Asked Zhou Yuding. 100 top-grade spirit stones, said Lin Feng indifferently. Hiss. Even Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, Zhou Yuding and the others were shocked. They had stayed in the mining area for many years. They had spent many years in the mining area, and they only had around 100 top-grade spirit stones. You have 100 top-grade spirit stones? Who are you trying to fool? Said Kim Jong-K disdainfully. He wasn't the only one who didn't believe him. Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, and Zhou Yuding didn't believe him either. Lin Feng said indifferently, Since I said I have them, then I have them. Do you want to bet or not? Just say it. Kim Jong-K's expression kept changing. He had spent 5 years in the mining area, and after deducting the top-grade spirit stones he had used for cultivation, he only had 100 top-grade spirit stones. If he lost, all his savings over the years would be gone in an instant. However, Kim Jong-K changed his mind. How could he lose? That boy was only at the 7th heavenly layer of the Martial King realm. Chu Yi was at the 8th celestial layer of the Martial King realm. Said Kim Jong-K. If you lose, what will you do if you don't have 100 top-grade spirit stones? Then I'll let you do whatever you want with me. Lin Feng shrugged. All right, I'll bet with you. Kim Jong-kei's expression suddenly became gloomy. All right, let's begin, said Zhou Zhao. Immediately, a burst of cheers came from the crowd because the stakes were too high. Junior brother Lin is too arrogant. He's only at the 7th celestial layer of the Martial King realm. Won't he lose without a doubt? Yeah, he's just looking for a beating. Many disciples were discussing. Chapter 639. Junior brother Lin is going to trick people again. Wang Hu and the other disciples mourned for Kim Jong-kei. They all thought to themselves, "You'll cry later." The disciple called Chu Yi was already moving towards Lin Feng as fast as lightning. Lightning steps. Someone immediately cried out in alarm. The lightning steps was a footwork passed down from the Blue Cloud sect. It was very difficult to cultivate. Very few disciples were able to successfully cultivate it. However, once one succeeded, the lightning steps would be extremely powerful. Just like its name, the lightning steps. As fast as lightning. Once the lightning steps were used, it was like a bolt of lightning. Before the opponent could react, the person using the lightning steps had already arrived in front of the opponent. Then, he threw a punch. That was enough to defeat the opponent. No wonder the disciples were so shocked and excited when they saw Chu Yi use the lightning steps. The lightning steps were indeed powerful. Will Lin Feng be defeated by Chu Yi in one move? Immediately, many disciples started discussing. They felt that it was very possible. Let's end this. Chu Yi arrived in front of Lin Feng in an instant. His expression was cold as he threw a punch at Lin Feng. Many people's expressions changed. They couldn't keep up with Chu Yi's speed. It was too terrifying. Chu Yi's punch was about to hit Lin Feng's body. At that moment, Lin Feng tilted his body slightly to the left. Chu Yi's punch brushed past Lin Feng's body and moved towards him. This punch actually missed. What? Chu Yi exclaimed in disbelief. In the next moment, Lin Feng threw a punch at Chu Yi. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Chu Yi flew back more than 20 meters as if he had been struck by lightning. He fell to the ground and howled in pain. His earth energy dissipated. He was no longer able to fight. Is it over? Everyone was dumbfounded. What had happened was different from what they had expected. Wasn't Lin Feng supposed to be defeated by Chu Yi? Was he supposed to be defeated by Chu Yi in one move? Why was Chu Yi defeated by Lin Feng in one move? Could it be luck? Many people thought back to how Lin Feng had dodged Chu Yi's attack in a moment of panic. It seemed that it could only be attributed to luck. Otherwise, how could he have dodged it? I'm sorry, I'm the chosen one. Whenever I go out, I pick up gold ingots. When I fight, I'm also blessed by the heavens. I accidentally won this battle. Lin Feng said with a smile. Bah, heaven's chosen one? Why is this brat so shameless? Many disciples rolled their eyes. Kim Jong-kei's face was extremely gloomy, and the corner of his mouth twitched violently. His heart seemed to be bleeding. 100 top-grade spirit stones were accumulated over many years. In the blink of an eye, it turned into nothingness. Lin Feng smiled at Kim Jong-kei and said, Senior brother Jean, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give me 100 top-grade spirit stones. Jean Zhenkai's face darkened as he took out a jade box. He said in a strange tone, Junior apprentice brother Lin is really lucky. I wonder if junior apprentice brother Lin will be so lucky next time. Lin Feng was surprised. Senior brother Jean, do you have more top-grade spirit stones? Do you want another round? Since I'm the chosen one, there's no way I'll lose. You. When Kim Jong-kei heard Lin Feng's mocking tone, his face became even more gloomy. He gave the jade box to Lin Feng and turned around to leave. He really didn't want to stay any longer. Haha, I'm really lucky today. Let's continue our morning exercises. Lin Feng opened the jade box and checked the top-grade spirit stones. When he found that there were no problems, he put them away and smiled at the crowd. Everyone looked at Lin Feng with envy. 100 top-grade spirit stones. It was simply a huge fortune. Everyone knew what top-grade spirit stones meant. In the next few days, Kim Jong-kei seemed to be more honest. Lin Feng had been cultivating with the help of the top-grade spirit stones from Kim Jong-kei. He was now at the peak of the 7th level of the Martial King realm. He just needed an opportunity to break through to the 8th level of the Martial King realm. Now, everything was ready. After adjusting his state for a few days, Lin Feng set up a concealment array and a spirit gathering array in his room that night. He took out a large number of high-grade spirit stones and more than 30 top-grade spirit stones and piled them up in the array. Then, he began to try to break through. The array operated. The pure energy contained in the spirit stones was also absorbed. The pure energy was all absorbed by Lin Feng. The earth energy in Lin Feng's body began to become purer. 6 hours later, a strong aura surged out of Lin Feng's body. Behind Lin Feng, the shadow of an Archean dragonesque elephant appeared. The Archean dragonesque elephant looked up to the sky and roared, shaking the mountains and rivers. I finally broke through to the 8th level of the Martial King realm. Lin Feng smiled. But then, a bitter smile appeared on his face. It took him more than 60 top-grade spirit stones to break through to the 8th level of the Martial King realm. This consumption was twice as much as Lin Feng had expected. Of course, the more strength Lin Feng absorbed when breaking through, the more strength he absorbed, the stronger he became. It took me more than 60 top-grade spirit stones to break through to the 8th level of the Martial King realm. If I break through to the 9th level of the Martial King realm, I'm afraid I'll need more. It's hard to find top-grade spirit stones. Lin Feng couldn't help but wail. Even in this mining area, the amount of top-grade spirit stones mined was very small. Therefore, it was obviously impossible to take over the mining area. It was possible to take a few from time to time, but for Lin Feng, it was just a drop in the bucket. Having just broken through, Lin Feng began to worry about the top-grade spirit stones he needed for the next breakthrough. It was already dawn outside. Lin Feng walked outside. The team gathered and everyone went to do their morning exercise. When they came back from the morning exercise, breakfast was ready. A group of disciples gathered around to eat breakfast. At this time, a little girl of 11 or 12 years old came out of nowhere and ran towards the place where Lin Feng and the others were eating. The faces of the soldiers on guard suddenly changed. If these sect disciples were disturbed by the miners, they would inevitably be punished. Little brat, is this a place where you can just barge in? Get out of here. A soldier with a cold expression lashed out with a whip. Crack. The little girl was sent flying. With a plop, the little girl fell to the ground. Werwo, save Xiaoyu's brother. Please, save Xiaoyu's brother. The little girl's face was full of pleading, and she cried like a weeping beauty. Little brat, in this mining area, you're already dead. Who can save you? The soldier sneered and reached out to grab the little girl, wanting to throw her out. Stop. A cold snort was heard. Sir. The surrounding soldiers saw Lin Feng and their faces changed. One of them hurriedly said, Sir, please forgive us. We'll get rid of this little brat who disturbed you. Werwo, big brother, save Xiaoyu's brother. Xiaoyu's brother is dying. Please save Xiaoyu's brother. The little girl threw herself at Lin Feng's feet and looked at Lin Feng with pleading eyes. A soldier said, Sir, it seems like they're from Mine 4. According to the rules of the mining area, the various mining areas can't interfere with each other's business. Kim Jongkei's mining area? Lin Feng raised an eyebrow. That brat is here. At that moment, 5 or 6 disciples from mine number 4 led a dozen soldiers and charged over like wolves and tigers. The little girl was so scared that she curled up and trembled all over. Chapter 640. Mine 4 was Kim Jongkei's mine. Had the little girl escaped from there? Besides, Lin Feng also knew a few of those ferocious disciples. The leader was Jin Haodong, the third most important person in Mine 4. It was said that he used to be Kim Jongkei's servant and had been promoted by Kim Jongkei. Junior brother Lin. Jin Haodong cupped his fists when he saw Lin Feng, but he didn't show any respect. Jin Haodong was more than 10 years older than Lin Feng, but cultivators had a longer lifespan, so he still looked relatively young. Jin Haodong's cultivation wasn't weak either. Kim Jongkei had so many servants, so why had he promoted Jin Haodong? Jin Haodong's cultivation talent wasn't bad. Especially in the past few years in the mines, his cultivation had reached the 10th layer of the Martial King realm. He was Kim Jongkei's right-hand man. What business do you have with me? Lin Feng asked indifferently. It's like this. A slave escaped to Mine 5, so we came to look for him, Jin Haodong explained. A slave escaped, so of course you're looking for her in your mines. Why did you come to Mine 5? Could it be that the security of Mine number 4 is so lax? Lin Feng sneered. Jin Haodong smiled insincerely and said, soldiers are humans too. There are times when they let their guard down. Is that so? Lin Feng glanced at Jin Haodong indifferently and said, the person you're looking for isn't in Mine 5. Leave. Jin Haodong's face sank and he said, Junior brother Lin, this little girl is a slave that escaped from Mine 5. Lin Feng said indifferently, someone who was in my mine? You're saying that she escaped from your mine? Jin Haodong stood with his hands behind his back and sneered. That's right. She escaped from my mine. The disciples and soldiers behind me can testify. That's right. We can prove that the little girl escaped from Mine 4. The group of people hurriedly said. Jin Haodong looked very pleased as he said, Junior brother Lin, did you see that? The people behind me have confirmed what I said. Lin Feng glanced at Jin Haodong and said, get out of Mine number 5. Don't you understand human language? Brat, what did you say? How dare you talk to me like that? Do you really think you're a mine owner? You're just a mine owner. Trash like you don't even have the right to speak to me. Jin Haodong didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes at all. He sneered again and again. He dared to be so arrogant in Mine number 5, which was Lin Feng's territory. It was obvious that Kim Jong-K often indulged him. Lin Feng's lips curled into a cold smile. Jin Haodong was really courting death. However, such trash was not even qualified for him to make a move. Brother Mo Yuning, break his legs, said Lin Feng. Lin Feng's lips curled into a cold smile.
Yes.
Mo Yuning stepped forward and threw a punch at Jin Haodong. Brat, you're courting death. Jin Haodong shouted angrily and also threw a punch at Mo Yuning. Mo Yuning knew that Jin Haodong was strong, so he suddenly shouted, Spirit! Boom! A terrifying aura burst out in an instant as Mo Yuning activated the spirit that he had mastered. At the same level, a cultivator with spirit could almost crush a cultivator without spirit. They could even kill in an instant. Bang! The two sides fiercely collided. Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Jin Haodong was sent flying, his arm broken. He screamed again and again. With a plop, he fell to the ground. Mo Yuning strode over and stepped on Jin Haodong's right leg. Mo Yuning worshipped Lin Feng. In this era, there was no such thing as idolatry. If there was, Mo Yuning would definitely be the type of fanboy. Therefore, he followed Lin Feng's orders unconditionally. Don't! Jin Haodong shouted in fear. The arrogance from before. The domineering attitude from before. The high and mighty attitude from before. At this moment, it turned into nothingness. There was only deep fear. Crack. But in the next moment, the sound of bones cracking could be heard again. Mo Yuning ignored Jin Haodong's pleas. He, Mo Yuning, only listened to Lin Feng's orders. The moment his right leg was broken, Jin Haodong's shrill cry could be heard. His whole body twitched violently. Brat, you're dead. I can guarantee that you're dead. I'll make sure you die without a burial place. Jin Haodong roared with hatred, his murderous gaze sweeping past Mo Yuning. In the end, he looked at Lin Feng with hatred in his eyes. He gritted his teeth. In his heart, resentment overflowed. The other leg will be crippled as well, Lin Feng said indifferently. Mo Yuning nodded. Jin Haodong's face suddenly turned pale. Spare me, spare me. Jin Haodong, who was originally threatening Lin Feng, was begging for mercy in the blink of an eye. I thought you were tough, but it turns out that you're also a soft egg. Wang Hu and the others curled their lips. Crack. Mo Yuning stomped his foot down again. Jin Haodong's right leg was also broken. Such a cruel method had already frightened the surrounding people to the point of trembling. Everyone's face was as pale as paper. Spare us. We're all following senior brother Jin Haodong's orders. Several disciples hurriedly knelt down and begged for mercy. They were completely frightened by Lin Feng's methods. Lin Feng waved his hand. Mo Yuning understood and rushed forward without mercy. Crack, crack. The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Each of them had a leg broken. Little girl, where's your brother? Lin Feng looked at the little girl. The little girl looked weakly at Lin Feng and said, They threw him in the Beast Valley. Beast Valley? Lin Feng frowned. This was the first time he had heard this name. What kind of place is the Beast Valley? Lin Feng asked. Mo Yuning and the others shook their heads. They had never heard of it. A soldier said, Young master, the Beast Valley is the place where the person in charge of mine number 4, Kim Jong-K, raises ferocious beasts. He has raised a dozen powerful ferocious beasts in the Beast Valley. I heard that Kim Jong-K sometimes throws some mining slaves into the Beast Valley to feed the ferocious beasts, but I don't know if the rumors are true. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Throwing people to feed the ferocious beasts? This Kim Jong-K was actually so heartless. Junior brother, please save her brother. Shi Weizhu said. Big brother, please save Xiaoyu's brother. I beg you, Xiaoyu will repay you in the future. The little girl grabbed Lin Feng's clothes with a pleading expression. Take me to the Beast Valley. Lin Feng looked at the soldier. Young master, please follow me. The soldier hurriedly led the way. The group walked in the direction of the Beast Valley. Lin Feng's face was full of anger. Kim Jong-K was really scum. Scum? I should find a chance to kill this guy. Chapter 641. In the Beast Valley, the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time. The Beast Valley was surrounded by a great array, so the beasts couldn't escape. A dozen disciples were guarding the Beast Valley. How long do you think those guys can last? A disciple asked with a smile. I'm guessing that they'll all die in there in less than half an hour. Another disciple said. Brother Kim Jong-K put in a lot of effort to cultivate these beasts' ferocity. He made them personally hunt humans and let them remember the smell of humans. In the future, Brother Kim Jong-K will have a dozen more killing machines. Another disciple said. At that moment, a deafening roar came from the depths of the Beast Valley. The disciples smiled and said, It seems that the beasts are starting to hunt. A disciple said, I really want to go down and take a look. The leading disciple sneered, If you go down, I guarantee that you'll also become food for those big guys. You haven't seen how terrifying those big guys are. I went down with Brother Kim Jong-K once, and I'm guessing that those big guys can even kill a martial king of the 10th celestial layer. In a few years, even a yin-yang layer cultivator won't be a match for them. That's too terrifying. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. In the Beast Valley, more than 50 miners were frantically running away, occasionally looking at the dozen beasts chasing after them. Among the beasts, there was a dark lightning leopard, a 3-headed scorpion, a 9-headed demonic tiger. Every single one of them had the blood of an ancient beast flowing in their veins. It was no wonder that they were so powerful. Hurry up and run inside. Find a place to hide. A miner pointed towards the depths of the Beast Valley, and everyone frantically ran away. Swoosh. At that moment, the dark lightning leopard sped up like a black bolt of lightning and instantly caught up. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards a miner. That miner let out a cry. Crack. In the next moment, the miner's head was bitten off by the dark lightning leopard. When the others saw this, they were scared out of their wits. They frantically ran towards the depths of the Beast Valley. But at that moment, the ground in front of them split open, and a beast claw the size of a mountain stretched out from the ground. The huge claws swept towards the miners who were frantically trying to escape into the depths. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the miners were swept away. Wow! The miners were coughing up mouthfuls of blood, and their faces were ghastly pale. The ferocious beasts in the back pounced over, and the miners died under the claws of the ferocious beasts. Young master, do you hear the roar of a beast? Look, that's the Beast Valley. The soldier pointed towards the depths. Yes. Lin Feng nodded and quickly arrived in front of the Beast Valley with everyone. Who are you? How dare you barge into Senior Brother Jin's Beast Valley? The leading disciple was called Meng Rue, and he had an arrogant expression on his face. This person was Kim Jong-K's confidant. He was a cultivator in the 9th layer of the Martial King realm and had outstanding strength. Are your dog eyes blind? This is the person in charge of the 5th mine, Senior Brother Lin Feng. A disciple shouted coldly, Lin Feng? Are you Lin Feng? Meng Rui's lips curled into a disdainful expression. He had heard of Lin Feng's cultivation level before, and he was only in the 7th layer of the Martial King realm. Meng Rui also knew that Lin Feng and Kim Jong-K had a deep grudge against each other. Kim Jong-K wanted to kill Lin Feng even in his dreams. Could he help senior brother Kim Jong-K deal with this brat today? At that time, it would be a great merit in front of senior brother Kim Jong-K. Thinking of this, Meng Rui's lips curled into a sinister expression. He looked indifferently at Lin Feng and said, "I was wondering who it was. So it's junior brother Lin. This is not a place where you can come. Leave now, and I'll forgive you. If you don't know how to appreciate kindness, don't blame me for being rude. Those who dare to speak to me like this will not have a good ending. Senior brother Mo, break his limbs." Lin Feng said indifferently, "Yes." Mo Yuning stepped forward and rushed towards Meng Rui. Boom. A terrifying aura surged out from Mo Yuning's body, and Meng Rui's expression changed drastically. He quickly retreated, wanting to avoid Mo Yuning's attack. But with his strength, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to avoid Mo Yuning's attack. "I'm senior brother Kim Jong-K's man. If you dare to hurt me, senior brother Kim Jong-K will not let you go." Meng Rui threatened loudly. But in the next moment, he was sent flying by Mo Yuning's punch. With a cry, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. He fell to the ground. Mo Yuning stepped forward. He stomped on Meng Rui one foot after another. Crack, 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 crack. The sound of bones cracking could be heard, and Meng Rui's limbs were broken. The rest of the disciples fell to their knees and begged, "Senior brother Lin, we didn't offend you. Please forgive us." Lin Feng ignored them and said, "Wait here for a moment. I'll go down and take a look." As soon as he finished speaking, he leaped down. Swoosh, swoosh in midair. He unfolded his golden wings and rushed down into the abyss like lightning. The massacre in the abyss was still ongoing. Out of more than 50 miners, only 3 were left. Among the 3, 2 of them had cultivated before and were agile. The last one was a 15 or 16-year-old boy. He was covered in injuries and was forced into a corner by several beasts. Puff, puff. There was a tearing sound, and the other 2 miners died tragically. At this time, more than a dozen beasts surrounded the skinny boy. "I can't die. If I die, my sister will die here," the boy muttered to himself. His desire to live was extremely strong. Roar. Ferocious beasts roared and shook the sky. More than a dozen beasts pounced on the boy. Found him. Lin Feng flew over. He saw the boy and let out a sigh of relief. He was still alive, and he was about to save him. Lin Feng saw that the boy's eyes suddenly turned blood red. "I can't die in this place," Yi Zichen muttered to himself. The boy gritted his teeth and said. He took a step forward. More than a dozen powerful beasts that were pouncing on him suddenly screamed and fell from the sky. They fell to the ground and fainted. As for the youth, he fell head first onto the ground. How is this possible? He doesn't have any cultivation, but he has his own force. In a life and death situation, he activated the force in his body. Lin Feng's face was full of shock. This boy was too heaven-defying. Lin Feng walked over and killed more than a dozen beasts that were dizzy. Then, he carried the boy and soared into the sky. Chapter 642. Whoosh! Lin Feng carried the boy and rushed over, landing on the cliff. "Woo woo woo, is my big brother dead?" The little girl was crying like a pear blossom in the rain. "Your brother is still alive," Lin Feng said. "Big brother, you saved my brother. I'll kowtow to you." The little girl knelt on the ground. Lin Feng hastily pulled the little girl to her feet and said, "Since you call me big brother, you're my little sister. How could a big brother refuse my little sister's request? Let's go back and treat him." "Big brother, you're the best." Xiao Yu's face was covered in tears. The group quickly left. "Let's go down and take a look," a disciple said. A few disciples flew down and saw the corpses of vicious beasts lying in the valley. The disciples' faces turned pale. These were vicious beasts that Kim Jong-K had painstakingly found and nurtured for many years. But now, they had all been killed by Lin Feng. The disciples knew that something big was about to happen. Kim Jong-K would definitely be furious, so they didn't dare hesitate. They quickly flew up and carried the unconscious Ming Rue back to Mine 4. They returned to Mine 5. Lin Feng placed the boy on the bed. Lin Feng then asked the others to leave, leaving only Shi Weizhu, Wang Hu, and Mo Yuning. Big brother, what happened to my brother? The little girl was obviously very worried about her brother, and she looked at Lin Feng pitifully. Lin Feng said, he's fine. He's just too tired. The little girl's brother was as thin as a matchstick. It was obvious that he had exerted too much strength and was fed poorly. His body wasn't in good condition, and he didn't have any cultivation, but he was emitting force. One had to know that emitting force was very taxing on one's mental and physical strength. Lin Feng took out a bottle of spirit liquid he had refined and fed it to the boy. Soon, the boy woke up. Big brother, you're finally awake. I was so worried about you. When Xiaoyu saw that the young man had woken up, he immediately started crying again. This time, it was because he was too emotional that he started crying. Little Yu. The young man held his sister in his arms. Xiaoyu said, Big brother, this big brother saved you. Xiaoyu struggled out of the young man's embrace and pointed at Lin Feng. The youth got off the bed and immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Feng. Thank you for saving my sister. Thank you for saving me. Lin Feng smiled and said, Get up and talk. Only then did the youth get up from the ground. Lin Feng found that although this young man's body was thin and weak, and he had no cultivation, his eyes were firm, and he was neither servile nor overbearing. This made Lin Feng feel a little strange. This young man did not seem to be an ordinary person. Who are you? Why did you come to the ancient barbarian mining area and become a miner? Lin Feng asked. My name is Dishi Xian, and this is my sister, Dishi Yu. My sister and I were going to a place to look for our family, and when we were crossing the border, they mistook us for spies. We were caught and brought here. Dishi Xian explained. Lin Feng frowned slightly. This Dishi Xian's introduction was too simple. It was obvious that he was hiding a lot of things. Wang Hu said, You're not being honest. Junior brother Lin saved your sister from those people in mining area 4, and he also saved you from the Beast Valley. You didn't even tell junior brother Lin about your background, and you only told him your name? What are you trying to hide? Dishi Xian lowered his head and did not speak. Lin Feng said, I won't ask about your background. Since I saved you, how are you going to repay me? What do you want, young master? No matter what it is, I will find it in the future and give it to you. Dishi Xian said, This brat is quite arrogant. Wang Hu said. Lin Feng said, I don't want anything. You will follow me from now on and serve me loyally. Do you want me to be your slave? Dishi Xian clenched his fists. Lin Feng said indifferently, Of course not. You'll be my subordinate. Wang Hu, Mo Yuning, and Shi Weizhu all looked puzzled. Why did Lin Feng value a youth with no cultivation so much? Wasn't this too strange? However, they also knew that there were some things that they should ask and some that they should not. Dishi Xian's expression was uncertain. He was obviously weighing the pros and cons. Mo Yuning said, Junior brother Lin will take you in and protect you and your sister. This is a blessing that both of you cultivated in your previous lives. What are you still hesitating about? The youth did not speak. After a long time, he said, 15 years. 15 years. I will work for you. After 15 years, give me back my freedom. Lin Feng said indifferently, I won't restrict your freedom. 15 years. I will only work for you for 15 years. Dishi Xian said again, All right, 15 years it is. Lin Feng said. At that moment, Dishi Xian bit his finger, and fresh blood flowed out. He touched his forehead with the blood and looked at Lin Feng. Clearly, Dishi Xian also wanted to touch Lin Feng's forehead. Lin Feng nodded. Dishi Xian also touched Lin Feng's forehead. I swear a blood oath that I will be your slave for 15 years. After 15 years, the blood oath will be completed and I will be free. Dishi Xian's voice was extremely sincere. What is this kid doing? Why is he so solemn? Wang Hu muttered. Shi Weizhu and Mo Yuning were also puzzled. Only Lin Feng was shocked. Because when Dishi Xian made the blood oath, a blood red array appeared in Lin Feng's mind. It was an oath array. Who is this Dishi Xian? He actually knows about oaths? Lin Feng was shocked. He had heard the Fire Qilin say that only some of the most mysterious races could make such a blood oath, and such races valued promises the most. No wonder when he asked Dishi Xian to follow him, he hesitated. According to the Fire Qilin, once those races chose to follow someone, they would stubbornly think of themselves as slaves and swear a blood oath. This might be the reason why Dishi Xian hesitated. Lin Feng, come out. At that moment, a cold voice suddenly came from outside. Li Liang ran over in a panic and reported outside the door. Junior brother Lin, it's not good. Kim Jongke brought people here, and they came with ill intentions. Hearing the 3 words Kim Jongke, Xiaoyu was so scared that her whole body trembled. Dishi Xian's eyes revealed a cold gaze. Dishi Xian, Xiaoyu, you two rest here. Lin Feng glanced at the brother and sister, then immediately stood up and walked outside. When he came outside, he saw Kim Jongke bringing over 30 disciples. Seeing Lin Feng appear, Kim Jongke's eyes revealed a cold killing intent. Chapter 643. Jin Zhengkai had come aggressively. He had brought many experts with him. Therefore, he had come fully prepared and was very confident. When Kim Jongke saw that Lin Feng and Shi Weizhu's relationship wasn't simple, he hated Lin Feng. In the past, Shi Weizhu was the first slave who dared to resist him, Kim Jongke. Shi Weizhu escaped, which made Kim Jongke feel extremely humiliated. Later, Kim Jongke went several times to ask for Shi Weizhu, but he was rejected by the female disciple who took Shi Weizhu in. In anger, Kim Jongke brought people to infiltrate the female disciple's residence. What Kim Jongke didn't expect was that in the female disciple's residence, Kim Jongke discovered a huge secret of the female disciple and wanted to use it to threaten the female disciple to hand over Shi Weizhu. However, Kim Jongke didn't expect that the female disciple would be so decisive and directly kill Kim Jongke and the others. After a big battle, several disciples were killed, and Kim Jongke luckily escaped. After Kim Jongke escaped, he not only revealed the female disciple's secret, but also wanted the sect to punish her. Because of that matter, although the female disciple's reputation was damaged, her background was also very big. This matter was suppressed, but in the end, the female disciple chose to leave the sect because of the damage to her reputation. Kim Jongke was later angered by the power behind the female disciple. Therefore, he was also kicked out of the Blue Cloud sect. Therefore, Kim Jongke came to the ancient barbarian mining area. This was something that happened many years ago. Everything was caused by Shi Weizhu. Kim Jongke always thought so. Kim Jongke, who hated Shi Weizhu because she dared to resist him, hated Shi Weizhu even more because of what happened later. Now that he saw Shi Weizhu again, although he hated Shi Weizhu. However, after seeing how beautiful Shi Weizhu was, Kim Jongke had evil thoughts. Unfortunately, Shi Weizhu and Lin Feng seemed to be together. Kim Jongke was jealous and angry, and he hated Lin Feng as well. Seeing Kim Jongke's face filled with killing intent, Lin Feng sneered and said, I was wondering who it was. So it's you, senior brother Jin. You said that I secretly hid slaves from mining area 4. Have you found them? As for Jin Haodong and Ming Rue, they dared to talk back to me. I am the person in charge of mine number 5. Since they don't know the difference in status, I will teach them a lesson on behalf of senior brother Jin. I don't want other powers to think that we Azure Sky sect disciples don't know the difference in status. As for the fierce beasts you mentioned, are they senior brother Jin's fierce beasts? I thought they were fierce beasts that accidentally barged into the mine, so I killed them. I'm sorry, but why didn't they mention senior brother Jin's name? If they had, I might have let them go. PFFF. Many people burst out laughing. Fierce beasts could mention Kim Jongke's name? Clearly, Lin Feng was toying with Kim Jongke. Kim Jongke's face twisted. Lin Feng, you dare to toy with me? Did I toy with you? Lin Feng's gaze turned cold. You brought a group of people to mining area 5. Do you think that mining area 5 is easy to bully? Scram, or I'll break your legs. Lin Feng sneered. Break my legs? Kim Jongke's lips curled into a sinister smile. Brat, do you really think you're some big shot? Tang Xiao, go break his legs. Let him know the consequences of offending this young master. Kim Jong-tae laughed sinisterly. He had already decided to shed all pretense of cordiality with Lin Feng. Yes, young master. At this time, a cultivator behind Kim Jong-tae walked out. This cultivator was thin, had a hooked nose, and inverted triangular eyes. He gave off a sinister aura. Huh. Someone who cultivates a demonic cultivation technique? Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Brat, you dare to offend my young master? No one in this world can save you. Slap yourself 100 times, and I'll break one of your legs. The cultivator called Tang Xiu laughed sinisterly. Haha, that's a good suggestion. Kim Jong-tae laughed. You don't know the meaning of death. Lin Feng sneered. Tang Xiu's eyes flashed with killing intent. You don't know how to appreciate favors. As his voice faded away, Tang Xiu directly rushed towards Lin Feng. Swoosh. A cold light flashed in the air, and a huge claw condensed. It looked like a ghost claw. Sure enough, it's a demonic cultivator. Lin Feng sneered. Of course, not all of these evil cultivators were sinister and evil. For example, Nalin Jing cultivated a demonic saber, but he had a righteous aura. Lin Feng was deeply impressed. But this cultivator called Tang Xiu was obviously a sinister person. When he attacked, Lin Feng didn't feel any righteous aura. What Lin Feng felt was a bloodthirsty, sinister, and resentful aura. A person with such an aura was a true demonic cultivator. It's a demonic cultivator. Senior brother Lin, be careful. The expressions of many disciples in my number 5 changed. Demonic cultivators had strange cultivation techniques, so righteous cultivators would often be at a disadvantage when they collided with them. Although everyone knew that Lin Feng was very powerful, they had never fought with a demonic cultivator. Everyone was worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. Haha, Tang Xiu was indeed a demonic cultivator before, but he was subdued by our Blue Cloud sect 10 years ago. He can be considered as a deacon of our Blue Cloud sect. When I came out of the Blue Cloud sect, I brought Tang Xiu with me to protect me. Kim Jong-tae proudly shouted. He's even a deacon of the Blue Cloud sect? Everyone was obviously very surprised. But it was normal when they thought about it carefully. Some demonic cultivators would choose to seek shelter from big sects, but when they sought shelter, the higher-ups of those big sects would often place restrictions on their bodies. Once they killed the innocent, they would die. It was precisely because of such restrictions that many demonic cultivators began to cultivate after seeking shelter from big sections. They were not as evil as before. Obviously, Tang Xiu was also such a person. Lin Feng guessed that Tang Xiu could join the Blue Cloud sect because of Kim Jong-tae's grandfather, Jin Tianao. Otherwise, Tang Xiu wouldn't have worked for Kim Jong-tae. Furthermore, he even called Kim Jong-tae young master. Tang Xiu's astonishing attack was about to bombard Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered and stepped forward, releasing a powerful aura from his body. Bang! The demonic claw condensed by Tang Xiu instantly shattered. What? Tang Xiu was shocked and couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly retreated and condensed his spirit at the same time. After Tang Xiu broke through to the 10th heavenly layer of the Martial King stage, he had cultivated for 20 years and finally formed a spirit. His spirit was a demon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws as it directly pounced toward Lin Feng. Slash! Lin Feng sneered and slashed out a sword chi. The spirit condensed by Tang Xiu was directly torn apart. How can you be so powerful? Tang Xiu shouted in horror. Go ask the king of hell. Lin Feng sneered and continued to urge his sword chi to slash toward Tang Xiu. I'm a deacon of the Blue Cloud sect. You dare to kill me? Tang Xiu roared. Who cares who you are? Those who offend me will die. As his voice faded, the sword chi slashed down. Puff. Chapter 644. Dead. A powerful existence who had comprehended spirit. Tang Xiu, who was at the peak of the Martial King realm. He actually used one move. He was instantly killed by Lin Feng. Mo Yuning, Wang Hu, and the other disciples of the Blue Cloud sect were naturally not surprised. They had seen Lin Feng fight a Yin Yang realm expert in northern Desolate City. Therefore, They knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. Tang Xiu was extremely strong, but compared to Lin Feng, he was still far from being as strong as him. However, the others had never seen Lin Feng fight a yin-yang realm expert. So when they saw Tang Xiu being instantly killed, one could imagine how shocked they were. You. Kim Jong-kei's expression changed again and again. He never thought that Lin Feng would be so powerful. Previously, Kim Jong-kei looked down on Lin Feng. He even mocked and ridiculed Lin Feng at the welcome banquet, saying that Lin Feng became the leader through the back door. Now, Kim Jong-kei realized how big of a mistake he had made. He had underestimated his opponent too much. He had also underestimated Lin Feng's strength. The disciples brought by Kim Jong-kei were also pale. Lin Feng's strength had deeply shocked them. Everyone's heart was filled with deep fear. Now, how could they have the courage to fight Lin Feng? In the distance, Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, and Zhou Yuding, the three people in charge of the mining area, also came over after receiving the news. As soon as they arrived at the mining area, they saw Lin Feng killing Tang Xiu in one move. The three of them were dumbfounded. Among the three of them, Zhou Zhao was the one who knew Lin Feng the best. However, Zhou Zhao's understanding of Lin Feng was only from the contents of the letter. Naturally, it wouldn't cause much of a shock, now that he saw Lin Feng killing Tang Xiu with his own eyes. Only then did Zhou Zhao know how strong Lin Feng was. Yu Zhuxin smiled faintly and said, I've long felt that this Lin Feng was hiding his strength. Just as I guessed, Tang Xiu was a cultivator who had comprehended a spirit. Even though he hadn't comprehended a spirit for long, he shouldn't have been killed so easily. Since he was killed in an instant, it can only mean that junior brother Lin is too powerful. Zhou Yuding glanced at Kim Jong-kei and gloated. Let's see how Kim Jong-kei will deal with this. Zhou Zhao also nodded. Obviously, the three of them had no intention of interfering in the matters of the fourth and fifth mines. Lin Feng, you win. Kim Jong-kei gritted his teeth, waved his hand, and was about to lead the disciples of the fifth mine away. A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. Even if Jin Zhangkai was just a despicable person, he would still be able to find words like, it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, to persuade him. Lin Feng looked at Kim Jong-kei indifferently and said, Did I say you could leave? Kim Jong-kei said coldly, Then what do you want? What? Didn't I tell you? I told you to scram. If you don't scram, I'll cripple your legs. Lin Feng, always do what I say. Lin Feng sneered and directly charged at Kim Jong-kei. You want to cripple my legs? Everyone, attack. Kill him. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. I guarantee that you'll be fine. Kim Jong-kei waved his hand and shouted. But how could the disciples dare to attack Lin Feng? When Lin Feng walked step by step towards Kim Jong-kei, a terrifying aura spread out from Lin Feng's body. The disciples were intimidated by Lin Feng's aura. Thump, thump. One by one, they knelt on the ground. What a domineering man. Yu Zhuxin licked her pink lips. Zhou Yuding narrowed her eyes, her gaze flickering with uncertainty. She then looked at Shi Weizhu. Zhou Zhao said, This junior brother Lin is too scary. He's domineering, powerful, and fearless. TSK. What's there to be afraid of? If anything happens, the sect will protect him. Yu Zhuxin said. Zhou Zhao nodded in agreement. If a sect could cultivate a sovereign, it would be a huge success. Then, the sect would soar to the sky. This was the world of cultivators. A clan, a sect, an empire. Perhaps they could rely on the strength of a single person to become powerful. Fire Sea Technique. Ice Spear Technique. Myriad Sword Technique. Explosion Technique. Seeing Lin Feng walk over step by step, Kim Jong-kei hurriedly cast a dozen spirit array techniques and threw them at Lin Feng. Kim Jong-kei was a spirit array master, and his grade wasn't low. He had reached the peak of the yellow rank. He was only one step away from becoming a profound rank spirit array master. These spirit array techniques were powerful, but Lin Feng threw a punch and they exploded. They couldn't stop Lin Feng at all. Kim Jong-kei's face was extremely gloomy. He took out a few jade talismans and threw them out. Suddenly, a fog curled up. The jade talismans drew an illusion array. When the jade talismans were activated, the power of the illusion array was revealed. Lin Feng was trapped in the illusion array. Haha, boy, you're trapped in my illusion array. Watch me kill you. Kim Jong-K laughed proudly. He took out his flying sword and was about to kill Lin Feng, who was trapped in the illusion array. But at this moment, Lin Feng had already passed through the illusion array and walked out. How could Kim Jong-K's trick stump Lin Feng? Whoosh! But at this moment, the flying sword was already slashing toward him. It was a bejeweled flying sword. Not good. The flying sword is going to kill him. Everyone's face changed drastically. Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, and Zhou Yuding's faces changed again and again. After all, how could a physical body resist the power of a flying sword? Humph! Lin Feng sneered and stretched out his right hand. A black hole appeared and instantly swallowed the flying sword that was slashing toward him. Ah! Kim Jong-K screamed because his connection with the flying sword was forcibly cut off. His flying sword was forcefully taken away by Lin Feng, and Kim Jong-K also suffered a backlash. The flying sword was swallowed? Heavens, what kind of trick is this? Junior brother Lin is too terrifying, right? Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, Zhou Yuding, and the others exchanged glances. Swoosh! Lin Feng rushed forward and arrived in front of Kim Jong-K. He kicked Kim Jong-K's right leg. Crack! The sound of bones cracking could be heard. Kim Jong-K's right leg was broken by the kick. Kim Jong-K immediately hugged his right leg and screamed. He glared at Lin Feng with hatred and cursed, "You dare to cripple my right leg? I'll make you pay 10 times, no, 100 times. You still dare to threaten me?" Lin Feng sneered. He raised his right leg. Then, he stomped down. Crack! This stomp landed on Kim Jong-K's left leg. The injury on the left leg was more obvious than on the right. The right leg was broken. The left leg had a comminuted fracture. Kim Jong-K's body began to convulse violently. He looked at Lin Feng with fear in his eyes. "Let me ask you, if I cripple your legs, will you accept it?" Lin Feng looked indifferently at Kim Jong-K. Zhou Zhao, Yu Zhuxin, and the others' mouths twitched violently. This junior brother Lin was too domineering. He had crippled Kim Jong-K, and he still asked if he accepted it. Chapter 645. Kim Jong-K wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. However, Kim Jong-K knew that he had to admit defeat now. Otherwise, he would suffer even greater torment. "I submit. I submit." Kim Jong-K shouted. "What a coward! A piece of trash like you dares to fight with me?" Lin Feng glanced at Kim Jong-K with an indescribable domineering aura. "I like domineering men like you." Yu Zhuxian licked her red lips and stared at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes. "Tsk tisk, I'm starting to mourn for junior brother Lin. If he's targeted by a seductress like you, he'll be miserable." Zhou Zhao shook his head. "Thank you for the compliment, senior brother." Yu Zhuxian smiled. Then, she looked at Zhou Yuding beside her and said with a smile, "Are you interested in working with me? You can have what you want, and I'll have what I want." Zhou Yuding smiled and said, "I don't need to cooperate with you. I can get what I want." She glanced at Shi Weizhu again. Shi Weizhu seemed to sense something and looked at Zhou Yuding. Her beautiful face changed slightly. Scram! Lin Feng kicked Kim Jong-K and sent him flying. The group of people hurriedly carried Kim Jong-K and left in a sorry state. When they returned to Mine 4, Kim Jong-K wrote a letter. "Go to the Sikong family of the ancient barbarian kingdom and give this letter to my mother. I want Lin Feng, that little bastard, to die." Kim Jong-K's face twisted. "Yes, I'll do it right away." A servant beside Kim Jong-K said. He put away the letter and left. Dishi Xian and Dishi Yu freshened up. They changed into clean clothes. Although Dishi Xian was thin, he was very handsome. As for Dishi Yu, although she was only 11 or 12 years old, she was already slim and elegant. This little girl is really pretty. Looking at Dishi Yu's beautiful face, Shi Weizhu was slightly surprised. Previously, Dishi Yu was covered in dirt, so he couldn't see what she looked like. Now that she had cleaned herself up, she really was a beauty. When she grew up, he was afraid that she would also be a beauty who could bring disaster to the country and the people. Dishi Yu blushed slightly. She sneaked a glance at Lin Feng, then lowered her head. Lin Feng smiled and said, I'm sure you're all hungry. Hurry up and eat something. Lin Feng had already ordered people to bring the things up. Seeing the rich food, Dishy Yu's eyes shone. Don't just watch. Hurry up and eat. Sure Wei Zhu smiled. Thank you, big brother. Thank you, big sister. Dishy Yu thanked them very politely. Thank you, master. Sakura slightly bowed. Then, he sat down at the table with his sister, Xiao Yu, and started eating. Lin Feng realized that even though the siblings were very hungry, they didn't wolf down their food. Instead, they ate very slowly. They had an indescribable noble temperament. Lin Feng could roughly confirm through the blood oath that Dishy Xian and Dishy Yu were most likely from a mysterious and ancient race. How did they end up like this? Since the siblings didn't say anything, Lin Feng wouldn't ask. In the future, things seemed to have calmed down. Kim Jong-Kei was recuperating and didn't appear. Kim Jong-Kei's comminuted fracture was different from ordinary bone fractures. It would take at least a few months for him to recover. And on this day, Lin Feng heard a piece of news from a group of soldiers who were escorting slaves. It was news about the fallen god cliff. The fallen god cliff was rumored to be a place of death. It was located in an underground canyon at the border of the desolate region and the barbarian region. That underground canyon was said to be a place that connected to the underground world. In the underground world, there were many demon forces. It was incomparably dangerous. You're talking about the fallen god cliff? Did something happen at the fallen god cliff? Lin Feng asked. When the leader of the soldiers saw Lin Feng, the person in charge of the fifth mine, ask this question, he didn't dare delay and said, I heard that a supreme treasure has appeared at the fallen god cliff. A supreme treasure? Lin Feng looked surprised and asked, what supreme treasure? Have you heard of Heavenly Saint Great Emperor? The leader of the soldiers suddenly asked. Lin Feng said, I've heard of Heavenly Saint City in the East Province, but I've never heard of Heavenly Saint Great Emperor. The leader said, it's said that Heavenly Saint City was built by a cultivator who received guidance from Heavenly Saint Great Emperor. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently. A cultivator who received guidance from Heavenly Saint Great Emperor had built Heavenly Saint City, one of the 10 great ancient cities in the East Province? Who was Heavenly Saint Great Emperor? Was he that powerful? The leader of the soldiers said, it's said that Heavenly Saint Great Emperor's cultivation is heaven-defying. He can break through the shackles of the mortal world and ascend to the undying realm. Ascend to the undying realm? Lin Feng was shocked. The undying realm had almost become a legendary realm. This was because for too many years, no one had been able to ascend to the undying realm. The leader of the soldiers nodded and said, that's right. He wanted to ascend to the undying realm, and it's said that he succeeded. Amazing. Lin Feng sighed in amazement. Heavenly Saint Great Emperor's cultivation had surpassed that of a god? Only those who had surpassed that level could ascend to the undying realm. And then? Lin Feng asked. Naturally, only cultivators who have broken through the shackles of the divine path can ascend to the undying realm. However, Heavenly Saint Great Emperor used a divine ability that deceived everyone. He used the heaven and earth sleeve technique to store more than 200,000 disciples in his sleeves. Everyone from the ancient Heavenly Saint sect, including their wealth and treasures, was brought to the undying realm by Heavenly Saint Great Emperor. The leader of the soldiers explained, he brought so many people with him to ascend? Heavenly Saint Great Emperor is that heaven-defying? Lin Feng was shocked. He had heard about the world of ascension from the Fire Qilin. The fewer things one brought with them, the better. Furthermore, one could not bring other living beings with them. This was because one would be punished by the heavens. Only those who had broken through the shackles of the divine path could ascend. However, Heavenly Saint Great Emperor had brought more than 200,000 disciples with him. When a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs will ascend to the heavens. Was this what the saying meant? The soldiers smiled bitterly. However, Heavenly Saint Great Emperor committed a taboo. What kind of place is the undying realm? That was a place where only the strongest experts were qualified to go. He had led so many people there, causing some of the big shots in the undying world to be extremely furious. Those big shots worked together and killed the Heavenly Saint Supreme Emperor, and the corpse of the Heavenly Saint Supreme Emperor fell from the undying world along with more than 200,000 people from the sect, falling into the depths of the God-falling cliff. Such a powerful person died? Lin Feng was dumbfounded. The leader of the soldiers nodded and said, "He's dead. An existence who surpassed the gods has fallen just like that. The God Luo Cliff is a place of death, and those who enter it have a slim chance of survival. However, every autumn, the restrictive spells of the God Luo Cliff will weaken greatly. At that time, the dangers of the God Luo Cliff will decrease by a lot. Some time ago, the restrictive spells of the God Luo Cliff began to weaken, and in the depths of the God Luo Cliff, there will be great imperial weapons shaking the earth." Imperial weapon? Lin Feng was shocked. That's a terrifying weapon forged by Heavenly Saint Great Emperor. It surpasses divine weapons forged by gods. It's at the level of imperial weapons. Above the divine path was the Great Emperor realm. The Heavenly Saint Great Emperor was a great emperor. Chapter 646. At night, Lin Feng sat cross-legged. He had already decided to head to the God-fallen cliff to take a look at the legendary emperor weapon. It's a pity that the fire Qilin didn't come with me. If he was here, he would have gone to the God-fallen cliff long ago. Lin Feng muttered to himself. He took out the sky-devouring jar. The sky-devouring Devil Emperor's treasure. It was a pity that this treasure was already broken. It was rumored that this treasure had almost become an emperor weapon. However, before it could evolve into an emperor weapon, it had been shattered. He wondered who was powerful enough to shatter the sky-devouring Devil Emperor's treasure. The sky-devouring Devil Emperor should be a great emperor expert, right? Even though there were still some experts in the demonic Tao who gave themselves the title of Great Emperor, such as the demonic Blood Emperor, they weren't great emperors at all. The difference in cultivation level was huge. However, demon Tao cultivators liked to flatter themselves. Therefore, they would often give themselves domineering names. According to the Fire Qilin, the sky-devouring Devil Emperor's martial soul was the same as his. However, the sky-devouring Devil Emperor's martial soul had evolved to 9. The 9 devouring martial souls had evolved into the sky-devouring martial soul. Clearly, the evolved sky-devouring martial soul would be even more domineering. This was also the origin of the name Sky-Devouring Devil Emperor. I wonder where the other parts of the sky-devouring jar are. If I can find them, will I be able to restore the sky-devouring jar to its former glory? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He activated his devouring martial soul. The devouring power continuously flowed into the sky-devouring jar. Although this treasure was now broken, it could still unleash shocking power. Lin Feng could strengthen his connection with the sky-devouring jar by constantly nourishing it. Once he activated the sky-devouring jar, the treasure's power would increase. The next day, Lin Feng left the ancient barbarian mining area and headed to the underground canyon at the border of the barbarian domain and the barbarian domain. This underground canyon was the passage to the underground world. The underground world was about 100,000 meters away from the surface world. The underground world was formed because some laws were broken, causing the ground to collapse, forming a large area of underground space. And the broken laws had gradually stabilized. Thus, a stable space was formed underground. After countless years of evolution, underground rivers, vegetation, mountains, and so on had appeared. It was actually the same as the world on the surface. However, the underground world had its own laws. In the underground world, there was no sunlight, and it was cold and damp. Ordinary cultivators were not willing to stay in such a place for long periods of time. However, monsters, demons, devils, all of these existences loved to stay in cold and damp environments. Therefore, many Yao Dao, evil Dao, and devil Dao forces took root in the underground world. In the underground world, there were also demons, such as Asuras, Yakshas, and other races. They belonged to the underground demon race and were extremely ferocious. Is that the underground rift up ahead? Lin Feng looked into the distance. Then he saw a huge canyon that stretched for an unknown number of miles appeared in their line of sight. In the canyon, black fog was rolling. A cold and gloomy aura filled the air. That eerie and cold aura would make ordinary cultivators feel very uncomfortable. However, this was the holy land of the evil demons. Lin Feng landed at the entrance of the underground canyon and looked down. He felt traces of cold wind blowing into his body. In the black fog, he could vaguely see some creatures flying past. In the distance, cultivators entered the canyon. Not long after, miserable screams could be heard. It was unknown if they had met with misfortune. Lin Feng rubbed his chin. It seemed that there were indeed some terrifying creatures living in the canyon that would attack cultivators who entered. Look, the underground canyon is up ahead. At this time, more than 10 cultivators flew over on their swords. These people were about to enter the canyon. Suddenly, one of them made a sound of surprise. Junior Brother Gu, did you discover something? A handsome cultivator in his 20s asked. The cultivator called Junior Martial Brother Gu was a one-armed cultivator. This person was actually Gu Jun. When they went to Star Cloud City together, on the way, they encountered a beast riot. Lin Feng and the others were surrounded by a pack of wolves. Gu Jun's arm was bitten off by a huge golden-back wolf. Senior brother, that guy is Lin Feng, Gu Jun said. Lin Feng? The Lin Feng from the Blue Cloud sect? The leading disciple asked in surprise. This disciple was called Su Xingjie. He was a top genius in Star Cloud Pavilion's inner court. Although Gu Jun's cultivation wasn't good, he was good at flattery and became friends with Su Xingjie. That's right, it's him. Gu Jun nodded. A disciple said, this guy's head is worth a lot. Isn't there a rumor in the sect that whoever can kill this kid will be rewarded with 100 top-grade spirit stones by Elder Shin? That's right. Many disciples even went to the Blue Cloud sect and waited for this guy to come out just to kill him. Another disciple said, as the saying goes, people die for wealth, and birds are the kings of food. 100 top-grade spirit stones was an astronomical figure. For ordinary disciples, obtaining top-grade spirit stones was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Many people used high-grade spirit stones to cultivate. That was because top-grade spirit stones were hard to come by. However, if one wanted to break through to the yin-yang realm, they still needed top-grade spirit stones. The purity of high-grade spirit stones didn't meet the requirements for breaking through. However, it was too difficult to obtain top-grade spirit stones. Elder Xingxuan's secret mission naturally attracted a lot of attention. Su Xingjie sneered. Then we're really lucky. 100 top-grade spirit stones is a huge fortune. Senior brother, what do you mean? The Nebula Pavilion disciples all had excited expressions. It's very easy for us to kill them, said Lin Feng. Su Xingjie's face revealed killing intent. He waved his hand and said, let's go and meet this guy. The Nebula Pavilion disciples nodded excitedly. Killing Lin Feng would give them 100 top-grade spirit stones as a reward. Even if Su Xingjie took most of it, each of them would still get a few. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of people quickly moved towards Lin Feng and landed on the ground. Lin Feng turned and looked at them in surprise. Lin Feng, you didn't expect us to meet here, did you? Gu Jun stepped out and couldn't help but sneer. Seeing Gu Jun, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. He really didn't expect to meet Gu Jun here. Seeing Gu Jun wearing Nebula Pavilion's uniform, Lin Feng was even more surprised. Gu Jun was an idiot. Even with a broken arm, he was still able to join Nebula Pavilion. This was indeed beyond Lin Feng's expectations. Of course, Lin Feng didn't have a good impression of Gu Jun. He said indifferently, what? Do you need something? Brat, you still don't know that death is near? Gu Jun sneered. Lin Feng looked at the group and found that they were looking at him with killing intent. Lin Feng laughed and said, are you all intersect disciples of Nebula Pavilion? I don't think I have any grudges with you. A Nebula Pavilion disciple sneered and said, we naturally have a reason to kill you. As soon as he finished speaking, this Nebula Pavilion disciple jumped out and attacked Lin Feng with a palm, wanting to kill Lin Feng. Chapter 647. The disciple who attacked was called Fanji. This person cultivated an ultimate technique called Golden Hand. As soon as he attacked, his arm immediately turned into a golden color. It was extremely hard. Although Fanjin had not cultivated a spirit, he was still at the 10th firmament of the Martial King realm. In addition to this golden hand, even if he were to face a cultivator who had cultivated a spirit, he would still have the power to fight. Fanjin had naturally heard about Lin Feng killing Deacon LV Shihai. However, LV Shihai's cultivation realm was built up through the accumulation of pills. Although he was at the 10th firmament of the Martial King realm, he was the weakest among the 10th firmament of the Martial King realm. As for Fanjin, he might not be the top among the 10th firmament of the Martial King realm, but he was second to the top. Therefore, he had absolute confidence that he would be able to kill Lin Feng. Senior brother Fan's golden hand is said to be able to split spirit weapons. That kid probably can't even take a single move from senior brother Fanjin, right? Of course, senior brother Fanjin has almost never been defeated with this golden hand. Moreover, it is said that when this golden hand is cultivated to the greater mastery realm, his entire body will be covered in gold. At that time, his defense will be comparable to the Vajra protection divine technique of Tantra. Senior brother is going to kill that kid in one move. The group of people discussed excitedly as if they were imagining the scene of Lin Feng being killed by Fanjin in one move. The cultivator named Fanjin also had a sinister smile on his face. It was as if he was determined to win. Buzz. At this moment, Lin Feng's lips curled into a sneer. A bunch of clowns. How dare they jump in front of him? Only those who had comprehended spirit and force at the same time could have the strength to fight Lin Feng before entering the Yin-Yang realm. Otherwise, those who had not entered the Yin-Yang realm would be as weak as ants in front of Lin Feng. There were not many cultivators who had comprehended spirit. However, there were still dozens of them in many factions. However, there were too few who had comprehended force. They were definitely as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. Lin Feng raised his right hand, and a resplendent sword chi slashed out. The resplendent sword chi seemed to be able to tear the world apart and destroy the sky. Its power was unimaginable. Poof! Everyone only saw a flash of blood before their eyes. The sword energy that Lin Feng slashed out instantly pounced Fanjin into two halves. Blood even splattered on the faces of some disciples. Senior brother Fanjin was killed. Everyone was enraged. Their faces were filled with dense killing intent. Aside from Gu Jun, all of them were inner sect elites. The leader, Su Xingjie, had comprehended spirit. There were 6 elites in the 10th sky of the Martial King realm. There were 9 inner sect elites at the 9th heaven of the Martial King realm. How powerful was this force? He should have killed Lin Feng. Instead, one of them was killed by Lin Feng. Anger. Everyone felt a raging fire burning in their chests. This child deserves to die 10,000 times for his crimes. Everyone, let's kill him together. Su Xingjie sneered. Su Xingjie was cautious by nature. After Lin Feng killed Fanjin, he was on guard. Even though he didn't think that Lin Feng would be able to do anything in front of them, he didn't think that Lin Feng would be able to do anything. But Su Xingjie still wanted to kill Lin Feng in the safest way. After these Nebula Pavilion disciples received Su Xingjie's order, their eyes were filled with murderous intent. Falling Star Fist, Galaxy Destruction Palm, 9 Rotation Star Slash. Powerful secret techniques were used by these people, bombarding Lin Feng. Haha, how is this kid going to die? Gu Jun didn't make a move. His cultivation was too low, so he couldn't help much. Gu Jun stood to the side. Several people surrounded Lin Feng, so excited that their bodies were trembling. It was as if after Lin Feng died, supreme-grade spirit stones rolled in. A group of clowns want to kill me? What a fantasy. Facing the attacks of more than 10 people, Lin Feng was still calm. He channeled his devouring martial spirit. At the same time, Lin Feng rushed into the crowd. Bang, bang, bang. The attacks of the Nebula Pavilion inner sect elite disciples bombarded him. The terrifying power of their attacks was all absorbed by Lin Feng's devouring martial spirit. How is this possible? These cultivators all had expressions of disbelief. How powerful were the attacks of more than 10 people? But why? This kid in front of them wasn't hurt at all? This was what puzzled them the most. At this time, Lin Feng had already rushed into the crowd. Sword severs heaven and earth. Lin Feng moved through the crowd. This was the spirit of Sword Dao. Lin Feng had comprehended 4 moves of the spirit of Sword Dao in the Thunderblade's secret realm, and this was the first move. Although Lin Feng hadn't comprehended the remaining 3 moves. But the first move was powerful enough. Poof, poof. The sound of flesh being torn apart could be heard. Blood splattered. Nebula Pavilion disciples were killed one after another. Activate your artifacts and kill him. A disciple shouted. Poof. But before he could activate his artifact, his body had already been torn apart by the sword energy. People were constantly being killed. They died on the spot. The scene could be said to be extremely tragic. It was too terrifying. It was really too terrifying. These Nebula Pavilion disciples were all scared out of their wits. Now, they didn't dare to stay and turned to flee. Even Su Xingjie, the leader of the Nebula Pavilion disciples, was completely scared out of his wits. Even a cultivator who had comprehended its spirit couldn't be this powerful, right? But Lin Feng was so terrifying. The combat power he displayed. It was too shocking. This was already beyond Su Xingjie's imagination. Wanna leave? Leave your lives behind. The 6 disciples below scattered and fled. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Skyrend, he coldly shouted. His right hand slashed out a 100-meter-long blade beam. The blade beam swept out. Poof, poof, poof. The sound of flesh being torn apart could be heard. Nebula Pavilion disciples were killed one after another. Su Xingjie's face was as pale as paper. Demonic rock ape. Suddenly, Su Xingjie loudly shouted. He unleashed his spirit. Su Xingjie's spirit was a type of demonic rock ape. A demonic rock ape formed from rock. It instantly condensed, roared, and pounced. However, it couldn't withstand Lin Feng's attack at all. The demonic rock ape was instantly cut in half. Then, the blade beam pierced through the sky and caught up to Su Xingjie in an instant, killing him with one slash. Su Xingjie died a tragic death. Someone had died at Lin Feng's hands. Gu Jun was so scared that his entire body was trembling. With a thump, he knelt on the ground. Brother Lin, this matter has nothing to do with me. I'm just a small fry who led the way for them. Back then, we even went to Nebula City together. We're old friends, so please spare my dog life. Su Xingjie begged. Do I have a friendship with you? Don't flatter yourself. Lin Feng coldly laughed. With an indifferent expression, a sword energy slashed out. Poochie. Chapter 648. More than a dozen Nebula Pavilion disciples were killed by Lin Feng in the blink of an eye. Some people in the distance looked over and were shocked. However, cultivators killing each other for revenge was too common, so naturally, no one cared. No one cared either. Lin Feng took the storage rings from these people. He was about to leave. Suddenly, crack, crack, the ground cracked. From the ground, a giant stone hand reached out and grabbed at Lin Feng. What the hell is this? Lin Feng frowned. He felt that this giant stone hand was very strange and couldn't help but let out a long howl. He waved his right hand and slashed directly. Sword chi swept out. Clang. When the sword chi slashed at the giant stone hand, it was actually blocked by the giant stone hand. Impressive. He managed to block my sword spirit. Lin Feng was shocked. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. He increased his speed and quickly retreated, slashing out with split. Poof. The giant stone beast was torn apart. But at this time, behind Lin Feng, a cultivator silently appeared. That cultivator's face was full of murderous intent. This person was Yu Boyun, who had a feud with Northern Desolation City. Yu Boyun's right hand turned into a rock-like palm. Towards Lin Feng, he struck out with his palm. Danger. Although Lin Feng didn't see the situation behind him, his senses were very sharp. When he felt the danger behind him, Lin Feng used his golden wings. Swoosh. Lin Feng's speed was extremely fast as he moved horizontally to the left. Just as he moved a meter away, Yu Boyun's long-planned attack came down fiercely. Yu Boyun had arrived long ago. He didn't appear because he was secretly accumulating power, ready to kill Lin Feng at any time. Now, Yu Boyun finally found this opportunity. But Yu Buayun didn't expect Lin Feng's dodging speed to be so fast. His attack hit nothing but air. Sky Splitter. After Lin Feng dodged Yu Buayun's attack, he turned around and unleashed a sky-splitting slash. 100-meter-long saber light condensed and instantly slashed towards Yu Buayun. Rock wall. Yu Buayun shouted coldly. The next moment, in front of him, a wall made of rocks appeared. This was the rock wall. Lin Feng's attack collided with Yu Buayun's stone wall, and Yu Buayun blocked it. Seeing that their attack had failed, the two of them quickly retreated. Yu Buayun's dantian emitted a terrifying aura. It was obvious that he was brewing an even stronger power. Yu Buayun, so it's you? Lin Feng's eyes turned cold when he saw who it was. Brat, do you think you can survive after escaping from the northern wasteland city? Yu Buayun's eyes were filled with killing intent. Escape from the northern wilderness city? Did I escape? You, on the other hand, have been slapped in front of so many people, yet you still have the face to come out? If I were you, I would have killed myself. Lin Feng sneered. Yu Buayun's eyes were filled with killing intent. He had been slapped by the demonic saber Nailin Jing. It was a great humiliation. Now, this bloody wound was exposed by Lin Feng. One could imagine how angry Yu Buayun would be. Look, isn't that Yu Buayun from the northern wilderness city? Who is that brat? He's been targeted by Yu Buayun? I'm not sure. That brat is not simple either. He easily killed more than 10 inner sect elites from the Nebula Pavilion and even exchanged blows with Yu Buayun. He's obviously a top genius. What's the use of being a top genius? Maybe he has a few powerful techniques that can fight against the Yin-Yang realm expert, but obviously, that level of technique consumes a lot of energy and can only be used a few times. If he encounters a Yin-Yang realm cultivator, he'll still be killed. Many cultivators discussed and looked at Lin Feng with pity. Even though Lin Feng had shown his incredible fighting strength, he was still extremely strong. Lin Feng was now facing a Yin-Yang realm expert. There was almost no suspense in this battle. Brat, I'll take your life today. Yu Buayun's sinister voice sounded. Buzz. At that moment, rays of stone-like light shot out from Yu Buayun's dantian. Then, cracking sounds came from the surrounding space. Lin Feng was shocked. Yu Buayun was activating his martial soul. Brat, my martial soul is the kingdom of stone. I can create a stone space to seal the world. You're trapped in my kingdom of stone. Even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, you won't be able to escape. Yu Buayun sneered. Crack, crack. In the void, a stony space quickly condensed and completely sealed off the surroundings. Yu Buayun's martial soul is so strange. Kingdom of stone? This is the first time I've heard of such a martial soul. The space here is completely sealed. That brat is finished. Many people cried out in alarm. When the spectators saw Yu Buayun's kingdom of stone, they didn't have any hope for Lin Feng. In their opinion, Lin Feng was now a turtle in a jar. Kingdom of stone, gravity, stone sword chi, slash. Yu Buayun shouted from within the kingdom of stone. The kingdom of stone immediately emitted a strange power. Lin Feng suddenly felt as if his body was carrying an ancient mountain. This was the kingdom of stone's gravity. Immediately after, the stone swords condensed and moved towards Lin Feng with murderous intent. This was the kingdom of stone's attack. Brat, I haven't used my kingdom of stone for 500 years. The world has even forgotten about it. This time, you're trapped in my kingdom of stone. Let's see how you'll escape. Yu Buayun laughed proudly. This kingdom of stone. It was indeed strange. Facing the densely packed stone swords, Lin Feng used Sky Splitter and sword slashes heaven and earth. Clang, clang, clang. In an instant, the stone swords were destroyed one after another. It's useless. I'm the ruler of this kingdom of stone. Yu Buayun sneered, and a terrifying aura surged from his body. Chapter 649. All living things reinforced and countered each other. In this world, there was no such thing as absolute invincibility. It was just like how martial souls reinforced and countered each other. Fire countered metal. Rocks belonged to the metal element. Naturally, they were countered by fire. Ordinary flames might not be able to restrain Yu Buayun's country of stone. However, Lin Feng's martial soul was the legendary heavenly fire. The power of heavenly fire. Naturally, it was not something ordinary flames could compare to. It was not strange that the rock giants began to melt after being enveloped by the heavenly fire. How can this be? Yu Buoyun clearly could not accept what he was seeing. Don't you understand the principle of all living things reinforcing and countering each other? Lin Feng sneered as flames appeared on the surface of his body. He was like a flaming god of war as he charged towards Yu Buoyun. Brat, don't think that flames can destroy my martial soul. I will let you know the power of my country of stone. Yu Buoyun's entire face was distorted. His roar shook the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of destructive energy swept out. Then, above the country of stone, huge rocks were formed one after another. Swish, swish, swish. The densely packed huge rocks smashed towards Lin Feng. It was as if it was raining rocks. This scene, it was truly frightening. Each rock was as large as a 1,000-meter-tall mountain. How powerful would the impact be if they fell from such a high altitude? Rocks falling like rain. Even a Yin-Yang realm cultivator would find it difficult to block this move of mine. Yu Buoyun shouted proudly. The falling rocks were extremely fast, and the impact was extremely powerful. Even the heavenly fire would need time to destroy them. Before the heavenly fire could destroy them, when the time came, they would have already smashed down and hit Lin Feng. Yu Buoyun thought that he had calculated everything. You want to kill me with a pair of broken rocks? Are you dreaming? Lin Feng had a disdainful expression. Golden body wings. Spatial bending. Lin Feng roared as he pushed the golden body wings to the limit. The golden wings were an ability that the immemorial golden-winged Great Rock Sage Emperor's clone had given Lin Feng. This primordial golden-winged Great Peng Sage King avatar had a total of 3 levels of power. The first level was the golden wings. The second level was called void travel. The third level was called the wings of the world. The first level, the golden wings, was divided into 3 realms. The first realm was called lithe as a swallow. The second realm was called energy wings, which was the second realm when Lin Feng unfolded his energy wings. The third realm of the golden wings was called shrinking the earth into an inch. Lin Feng had long since reached the second realm, which was the realm of energy wings. As his cultivation increased, Lin Feng had also grasped the third stage, shrinking earth into an inch. What was earth shrinking? A distance of a few hundred meters could be crossed in an instant with just a single step. This was the earth shrinking technique. It was rumored that when an immemorial god-level existence used earth shrinking, they could cross tens of thousands of miles with a single step. However, Lin Feng's cultivation was still shallow and could not do this. However, crossing 400 to 500 meters with a single step was not a problem. Therefore, when Yu Buoyun summoned those gigantic rocks to attack Lin Feng was stunned. Lin Feng used earth shrinking and arrived in front of Yu Buoyun in a few steps. As for the rocks that came crashing down, they all missed. Yu Buoyun looked as if he had seen a ghost. A distance of a few thousand meters, this kid rushed over in a few steps. What kind of speed was this? Yu Buoyun had never seen such speed before. Wasn't this too abnormal? Before Yu Buoyun could regain his senses, Lin Feng's attack was already ready. Sky Tyrant Lightning Art. Energy condensation. Boom. In the next moment, Lin Feng threw the energy ball at Yu Buoyun. Lin Feng's speed was too fast, so Yu Buoyun did not have time to block Lin Feng's Sky Tyrant Lightning Art. Bang! A muffled sound of a violent collision was heard. Yu Buoyun was directly sent flying. Wah! In midair, he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Being hit by Lin Feng's Sky Tyrant Lightning Art at such a close distance, the injury was obviously not light. Crack! Crack! Yu Buoyun's Kingdom of Stone began to collapse. Look, the Kingdom of Stone seems to be dissipating. Is that kid dead? Is that why Yu Buoyun removed the Kingdom of Stone? Many people started discussing. In the next moment, the Kingdom of Stone exploded. Everyone looked over and saw Yu Buoyun fly out, coughing up blood in midair. Heavens, what did I just see? Am I seeing things? Yu Buoyun, a Yin-Yang expert, vomited blood? Isn't this too unbelievable? That kid is actually so powerful? Even an expert like Yu Buayun was beaten to the point of vomiting blood? Too powerful, too terrifying. A martial king defeating a Yin-Yang expert? If he breaks through to the Yin-Yang realm, how strong will that kid be? Shocked shouts could be heard. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. A martial king defeating a Yin-Yang expert? This was simply a legend. But such a legend had actually happened before their eyes. How could they not be shocked? How could they not be moved? Lin Feng charged into the sky. He shouted, "Get down!" He stomped towards Yu Buayun. In the void, a powerful energy swept through the world. A giant foot formed from energy ruthlessly stomped towards Yu Buayun. How shocking was that 1,000-meter-long foot? "Kid, you're courting death." Yu Buayun roared and was about to use a secret technique to block. But the 1,000-meter-long foot had already stepped on Yu Buayun. A loud clang was heard. Yu Buayun was stomped to the ground by the 1,000-meter-long foot. Yu Buayun is being suppressed. Everyone's expression was one of extreme shock. The Yin-Yang expert had been suppressed to such an extent. It was simply unbelievable. Die! Skyrend! Sword severs heaven and earth. Lin Feng roared. Saber chi and sword light pierced through heaven and earth, heading towards Yu Buayun. Stone Mountain. Yu Buayun roared and opened his mouth to spit out a magic treasure. It was a magic treasure the size of a palm and the shape of a mountain. It was surrounded by powerful magic power fluctuations. It seemed to be Yu Buayun's personal magic treasure. The magic treasure quickly grew in size and blocked Lin Feng's attack. Yu Buayun's punch shattered the 1,000-meter-tall foot. However, it was clear that Yu Buayun had also suffered serious injuries. He roared bitterly, "Kid, when I recover, I'll definitely take your life." As soon as he finished speaking, Yu Buayun jumped into the underground canyon and escaped without a trace. "Do you think it's that easy to leave?" Lin Feng roared and quickly chased after him. He also jumped into the underground canyon. "Let's go and see. Yu Buayun won't really be killed by a martial king kid, right?" All the cultivators who had come to watch the show were extremely excited. They all chased after Yu Buayun. They all wanted to see Lin Feng kill Yu Buayun. If Yu Buayun was really killed by a martial king cultivator, this battle would definitely shake the entire wasteland. Chapter 650. Abyss. It was pitch black. The surroundings were filled with rolling black fog. It was so dark that there was no light. This was the underground rift valley, a passage that led underground. It was more like a passage to hell. This old thing runs so fast. Lin Feng chased all the way, but he couldn't find Yu Buayun's figure. After all, the underground rift valley was pitch black. He couldn't see anything. Even for cultivators, their visibility was very low. They could only see a dozen meters around them. After searching for a while, he found nothing. Lin Feng frowned. If not for the obstruction of the underground rift valley, Yu Buayun would already be a dead man. How could a heavily injured body fight against him? Helplessly. Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed an ice-cold qi which swept through the atmosphere. And there's danger? Sky-splitting. Without hesitation, 100 zhang long blade light swept out in all directions with Lin Feng as the center. Puff! The sound of something being torn apart could be heard. Lin Feng looked over and saw that it was a huge, pitch-black tentacle hidden in the black fog that attacked him. And now, those pitch-black tentacles were all cut off. Demon Ghost Vine. Lin Feng was shocked. This was a very terrifying plant. It had a strong vitality. Moreover, those ghost vines had dense barbs on them. The barbs contained a highly toxic poison. Once the barbs pierced the body would immediately be paralyzed and lose the ability to move. At that time, the demon ghost vine would wrap around him and suck his flesh and blood dry. The most terrifying thing about the demon ghost vine is its soul attack. Lin Feng thought of the terror of the demon ghost vine, and his expression couldn't help but change slightly. He didn't dare to hesitate. His soul hurriedly entered the primal chaos ancient lamp to hide. At this time, on the walls of the underground rift valley, the densely packed demon ghost vine suddenly opened its bloody mouth. These devil ghost vines all had extremely ugly faces. Then, its body had dense tentacles, a bit like an octopus, rooted in the rock wall. The demon ghost vine let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. Then, sound waves swept out. Ah! Many unprepared cultivators who entered the great underground Rift Valley screamed when they heard the screams of the devil ghost Rot-Tan. Clearly, they had suffered a soul attack. One cultivator after another lost their balance. The devil's ghost vines quickly wrapped around them. Lin Feng was already prepared, so he was able to resist the soul attack of the devil ghost vine. However, Lin Feng didn't dare to stay any longer, so he quickly flew down. Finally, they arrived at the bottom of the abyss. Just as they arrived at the bottom of the abyss, a black mass of living beings flew over. Everywhere they passed, all living beings were swallowed up. A few cultivators who had descended were also sucked in, directly turning into white bones and falling to the ground. Cannibal bees, seeing the black mass of creatures, Lin Feng's face suddenly changed. It was a kind of bee, but the bees were too big, about the size of a palm. Its whole body was hard, and ordinary magic weapons could not break the defense of the cannibal bees. The attack power of these cannibal bees is quite terrifying. Whoosh! Lin Feng quickly flew to the distance, avoiding the hunting of the cannibal bees. This is the underground world, right? It's really dangerous here. Lin Feng looked at the dark world around him and frowned. Back in the Eastern Divine Prefecture, Lin Feng had also entered the underground world. However, the underground world was not as gloomy and terrifying as the aura here. Moreover, in that underground world, there were no top evil sects or demon forces. It was different here. In the underground world at the border of the Desolate Domain and the Barbarian Domain, there were all kinds of evil sects and demon forces. There were also many earth demon clans. It could be said that danger was everywhere. The slightest carelessness could cause one to die here. Swoosh! Lin Feng was stunned for a moment before he was attacked. In the dark forest, a white light streaked across the sky, slashing towards Lin Feng. The speed of this white light was simply too fast. Ordinary people wouldn't even be able to react before they were killed. Confinement. Lin Feng slightly activated his devouring martial spirit. The magnetic field was activated. The white light was fixed 1 meter away from Lin Feng. At this moment, Lin Feng saw what it was. It was actually a winged Azura with a green face and fangs. Flying Azura. Lin Feng was shocked. The Azura clan was a very large clan in the underground world. Moreover, there were many experts. The Flying Azura was a very powerful branch of the Azura clan. The Flying Azura in front of him was covered in silver-white scales. When it attacked its target, its speed would increase and it would be like a white lightning, instantly piercing through the target's body. After the Flying Azura was restrained by Lin Feng, it still bared its fangs and brandished its claws at Lin Feng, its eyes ferocious. The earth demons are cruel and bloodthirsty. If it wasn't for the fact that the righteous sects are strong enough to suppress these earth demons would have already rushed to the surface world. At that time, who knows how many people would have died. Lin Feng slashed out with his sword Qi, killing the Flying Azura. Whoosh! He soared into the sky and flew towards the depths. The underground world was in eternal darkness. Lin Feng didn't know how many days had passed as he flew towards the depths of the underground world. On this day, when Lin Feng was resting, a terrifying fluctuation came from the forest in the distance. Then, an endless amount of blood rushed out. Lin Feng was awakened and looked towards the distance. Li Shangjian, in the past, you stopped me and the Inferno Demon King from reviving the Netherworld Emperor. Today, you have met me, so you are destined to die here. In the blood-red world, a man in a blood-red robe stood. His voice was filled with endless killing intent and coldness. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He still remembered 6 years ago, when the demons of the divine land of the East County were causing trouble. The Inferno Demon King and the Blood Demon Emperor had joined hands to revive the Netherworld Emperor, one of the 72 demon emperors of the Middle Ages. In order to revive the Netherworld Emperor, these two powerful demons had killed countless lives. Later, the human experts joined hands to attack, but they couldn't stop the Netherworld Emperor from reviving. The Netherworld Emperor was about to be revived. A sword Qi tore through the world. Then, the sword Qi cleaved the Netherworld Emperor, who was about to revive, into two halves. The remnant soul of the Netherworld Emperor was also destroyed. That man who used a sword to pierce the sky back then, was he? Lin Feng looked at the man with a sword on his back in shock. It was a man in white robes, about 30 years old. He had a long sword on his back and was facing the Blood Demon Emperor in the sky. Blood Demon Emperor, I'm afraid you can't kill me alone, Li Shangjian said. What if I join in? If I join hands with the Blood Demon Emperor, can we kill you? A cold voice sounded. An endless amount of black fog surged out, and a muscular man in a black robe walked out of the void. Sky Demon Emperor, it's you. Seeing this person, Li Shangjian frowned. Another demonic great emperor has appeared. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Two demon emperors were attacking Li Shangjian together. If there was a slight mistake in this battle, Li Shangjian could die here. Chapter 651. The two demonic emperors locked onto Li Shangjian from the front and back. Lin Feng couldn't help but worry for Li Shangjian. He naturally didn't want someone as powerful as Li Shangjian to die at the hands of the demonic emperors. Both the demonic blood emperor and the celestial demon emperor weren't good people. They were one of the 9 demonic emperors of the Tianwu continent. Mystical abilities. Heaven-defying magic power. Heaven and earth could shatter with a flick of their fingers. They could shatter the heavens with a wave of their hands. However, of the 9 grand emperors of the Devil Path, some had gone into seclusion, while others had appeared in the martial heaven continent, wreaking havoc on the continent. For example, the demonic blood emperor had caused a massacre 6 years ago in the Eastern Divine Prefecture, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of millions of people. The celestial demon emperor wasn't a good person either. It was said that the celestial demon emperor had devoured an entire country in order to cultivate a demonic art. 700 to 800 million people became sacrifices for the celestial demon emperor. It's a pity that I'm not strong enough. Otherwise, I could join forces with Li Shangjian to kill these 2 demonic emperors. Lin Feng muttered to himself. Boom. A sea of blood covered the 9 heavens. The entire sky had turned into a sea of blood. The scene was truly terrifying to the extreme. Look, it's the demonic blood emperor and the celestial demon emperor. Is that Li Shangjian? The celestial demon emperor and the blood sea emperor have surrounded Li Shangjian. Are they going to join forces to kill him? Is that Li Shangjian, the #1 sword hero of the Tianwu continent? Why do the demonic blood emperor and the celestial demon emperor want to kill Li Shangjian? It's said that the demonic blood emperor wanted to revive the Netherworld Emperor, one of the 72 demonic emperors of the Middle Ages, but he was stopped by Li Shangjian. I see. Many experts in the underground world looked over. The conflict in front of them was naturally eye-catching. Many cultivators gathered around to watch. Of course, no one dared to step forward in such a battle. That was because the energy that leaked out was enough to make the onlookers die without a burial place. Li Shangjian, do you have any last words? Say them quickly. If you don't, you won't have another chance. The heavenly demon emperor sneered. Li Shangjian said indifferently, you two seem to be celebrating too early. We'll know after we fight. The blood sea monarch smirked and waved her right hand. Roar. The roar resounded throughout the world. Within the sea of blood, blood fiends began to form. There were blood dragons, blood xiongqi, blood white tigers, blood taodais, blood drought demons, and so on. The densely packed, blood-colored, ferocious beasts all pounced on Li Shangjian. The Sky Demon Emperor also made his move. The demonic fog churned. Within the demonic mist, demonic beasts the size of mountains began to form. He also pounced on Li Shangjian. That's terrifying. Lin Feng's face was pale. Regardless of whether it was the blood fiends or the demonic beasts, Lin Feng felt a suffocating pressure. Those existences, the aura surging out of his body made Lin Feng's soul tremble. It was hard to imagine how strong the blood fiends and demonic beasts were. The Blood Demon Emperor and the Celestial Demon Emperor were indeed renowned supreme experts of the Devil Dao. Their strength was indeed terrifying. I wonder how Li Shangjian will deal with them. Lin Feng looked at Li Shangjian. Facing the combined attacks of the two emperors, Li Shangjian was still calm. Li Shangjian was still calm. It had to be said. This Li Shangjian, he had a kind of spirit that made people admire him. Sword, rise. Li Shangjian waved his right hand. Buzz. The sword on his back hummed and soared into the sky. 180,000 swords. Li Shangjian pointed forward with his right hand. The sword floating above Li Shangjian trembled slightly. Suddenly, dense sword shadows appeared in the void. Lin Feng had seen some sword masters who could create a lot of sword qi to fight against their enemies. For example, it was said that the deity Sword Manor's god-killing sword technique could create 10,000 sword qi when cultivated to the peak. However, there was still a huge gap between the god-killing sword technique and Li Shangjian's move. They were not on the same level at all. Li Shangjian's 108,000 swords. Every sword seemed to have a life of its own. Spirit! Lin Feng exclaimed. He was dumbfounded. Unbelievable. All 108,000 swords had been bestowed with a spirit. How profound must one's understanding of the sword Dao be able to bestow a spirit on all 108,000 swords at the same time? Puff puff. All 108,000 swords swept through the void and slashed forward. Ripping sounds could be heard. Blood beasts, demonic beasts, slashed by the sword qi. So powerful. As expected of the #1 sword master in the Tianwu continent, many people exclaimed. There were too many people who entered the sword Dao. Even in the Blue Cloud sect, there were many people who cultivated the sword Dao, not to mention the 3,000 prefectures in the Tianwu continent. How many people cultivated the sword Dao? There were so many that it could be described as the waters of the sea. However, there were only a few people in the Tianwu continent who could cultivate the sword Dao to Li Shangjian's level. Li Shangjian's sword Dao is getting more and more powerful. Seems like we have to show him something. The Sky Demon Emperor said. Then use your killing technique and kill him, said Yifutyan. The Demon Blood Emperor said sinisterly. God of the Blood Sea. The Demon Blood Emperor attacked. His voice fell. Within the blood-colored sea, a god wearing a blood-red robe condensed. It was the god of the Blood Sea. It was a god born from the Blood Sea. All living beings in the world, all living things will be destroyed. My body is eternal. My blood will break the firmament. The god of the Blood Sea said coldly. He stepped forward in the void, causing the void to distort. Cracks in the void appeared one after another. It was too terrifying. It actually broke the firmament. Ah, I feel like my blood is being sucked away. I feel the same way. It's the god of the Blood Sea. He can steal blood by force. Many cultivators shouted in fear. They realized that their blood was going out of control and was about to break out of their bodies. Many people turned pale with fright and hurriedly fled into the distance. My blood is going out of control. Lin Feng also felt his blood pounding, as if it was about to break out of his body. He didn't dare hesitate. He quickly flew away from the battlefield. A battle of this level was too terrifying. Sky Demon exterminates the world. At the same time, the Sky Demon Emperor also unleashed an ultimate technique. A heavenly demon with 18 heads and 3,000 eyes appeared. The heavenly demon stood in the void. 3,000 eyes opened, and the void collapsed. It was hard to imagine how strong he was. Too strong. Is this the cultivation level of a demon emperor? Lin Feng was deeply shocked. It seemed like such a strong cultivator could break through the void at any time. The god of Blood Sea and the heavenly demon with 18 heads and 3,000 eyes attacked Li Shangjian at the same time. The dense sword qi shattered in an instant. The god of the Blood Sea and the heavenly demon with 18 heads and 3,000 eyes were too powerful. They wanted to break through the sky and kill Li Shangjian. Is Li Shangjian going to be killed? Many people looked at the battle in the distance, their hearts filled with shock. At that moment, Li Shangjian reached out and grabbed his sword. He held it with both hands. A deep voice sounded. Suddenly, it resounded. My sword is called Sky Splitter. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Shangjian slashed out. In an instant, a sword light 100,000 zhang long swept out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The treasured swords on the cultivators' bodies all began to hum. Lin Feng's black dragon sword flew out and shook the sky. 10,000 swords chimed. Sword intent. What a terrifying sword intent. It actually caused 10,000 swords to chime. Lin Feng shouted in shock. Pooh! The sword light 100,000 zhang long tore through the sky. In an instant, the god of the blood sea and the sky demon were torn apart. Puff! The blood demon emperor and the sky demon emperor flew back as if they were struck by lightning. They were injured by Li Shangjian's sword intent. In the air, they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 652. Those are two great emperors of the demonic Tao. Li Shangjian fought against them alone and still managed to injure them. Isn't Li Shangjian too strong? Cries of surprise rose and fell one after another. Everyone's eyes were filled with deep shock. All of this was too unbelievable. The battle prowess that Li Shangjian displayed was unbelievably strong. Let's go. After the Sky Demon Emperor and the Blood Demon Emperor were injured by Li Shangjian, they did not dare to stay any longer. The two great demon emperors soared into the sky and fled into the depths of the underground world. The two great demon emperors were hit by Li Shangjian's sword intent. Their injuries are probably not light. Some cultivators said. Li Shangjian held his sword with one hand and chased after them. Obviously, Li Shangjian wanted to use this opportunity to kill the two great demon emperors. Let's follow and see. Many cultivators chased after them, wanting to see how the battle would develop. The number one sword master of the Tianwu continent is indeed powerful. Sword master was not a title that anyone could bear. Sword referred to a sword cultivator. Hero referred to a hero. Li Shangjian was such a hero. His swordsmanship was heaven-defying. Moreover, he had a heart of justice. That was why he was called a hero. Countless sword cultivators worship Li Shangjian like an idol in the Tianwu continent. Lin Feng did not chase after them. He was still in a state of shock brought about by Li Shangjian's slash. He slashed with his sword. It condensed a sword light that was 100,000 feet long. It was hard to imagine how powerful Li Shangjian's swordsmanship was. Sword will. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He sensed a powerful sword will from Li Shangjian's attack. Spirit. The next level of transformation was will. No matter what kind of power it was, whether it was spirit or will, there were strong and weak ones. For example, Lin Feng had comprehended sky-splitting. He had grasped the saber will. Sky-splitting could only be used when one had comprehended the saber will. However, it was obvious that different people used sky-splitting. The power of sky-splitting was definitely different. This was because the person who used it had a different will. The deeper one's comprehension of saber will, the greater the power of sky-splitter would be. Lin Feng's saber will was still at the beginner's stage. As for Li Shangjian's sword intent, he must have reached an extremely powerful level. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to slash out 100,000 feet long sword light. Such a powerful sword intent would not dissipate so quickly after a great battle. There was bound to be sword intent left in the void. This was the reason why Lin Feng didn't leave. He wanted to comprehend the sword will left behind by Li Shangjian. Lin Feng hoped to obtain an opportunity to let his sword Dao spirit break through to the second stage. The sword cleaved heaven and earth. Sword intent piercing the heavens. Return of the 10,000 swords. Eternal sword. These were the 4 stages of the sword principal spirit. After completely comprehending all 4 stages, Lin Feng could transform that spirit of the sword Dao into will of the sword. Lin Feng was still in the first stage. In the forest, many cultivators stayed behind. Many of them were sword cultivators. Obviously, these cultivators had the same idea as Lin Feng. They also wanted to comprehend the sword will left behind by Li Shangjian. If they could comprehend something from it, it would be a great opportunity. Naturally, no one was willing to let go of such a good opportunity. Lin Feng found a mountain peak and sat cross-legged on top of it. He threw out a few talismans. These talismans were activated and condensed into several illusory formations scattered around. These illusory formations could protect Lin Feng. If someone came to disturb Lin Feng or had ill intentions towards Lin Feng, they would be trapped in the illusory formations. Spirit of the sword Dao, help me comprehend. Lin Feng closed his eyes. He tried his best to sense the aura of the sword Dao spirit. Gradually, Lin Feng entered a mysterious state. He felt as if he had turned into a sword chi. This was the state of enlightenment that cultivators dreamed of. Some people might not be able to achieve enlightenment even once in their lives, but Lin Feng was able to comprehend them frequently. Naturally, it was related to the fact that Lin Feng cultivated the archaic dragonesque elephant art, a heaven-defying forbidden divine art. The archaic dragonesque elephant art would unleash Lin Feng's potential to the limit. In the eyes of others, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. It was like an epiphany. For Lin Feng, it was not difficult. Is this the sword will? Lin Feng, who had transformed into the sword Dao spirit, suddenly saw a sea of swords. This sea of swords, this was Li Shengjian's sword will, and at this moment, he had turned into a drop of water in the sea of swords. So the spirit that I comprehended is like a drop in the ocean in front of Li Shengjian's sword will. Lin Feng was deeply shocked. Li Shengjian, he was really too powerful. Lin Feng moved forward freely in the sea of swords. He was merging into this endless sea of swords. Time passed. No one knew how much time had passed. Lin Feng's body emitted an even more powerful sword aura. The sword will reach the heavens. Lin Feng opened his eyes and shouted in a low voice. Buzz. Behind Lin Feng, 100 zhang long sword light condensed. The 100 zhang long sword light flew into the distance and lightly struck. A mountain peak was instantly cut in half like tofu. What a powerful sword Dao spirit. Someone had an epiphany. Many cultivators cried out in surprise. Since someone had an epiphany, we can definitely do it too. A cultivator said excitedly with a determined expression. He closed his eyes and continued to comprehend the sword will here. What a good sword will. It's really powerful. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In this move of sword will, the sword was the spirit of sword Dao. Will referred to one's will. It meant that Lin Feng's will, the sword Dao spirit, could shatter heaven and earth. The second stage of the sword Dao spirit was more than 10 times stronger than the first stage. Let's go. Lin Feng stood up, not intending to stay any longer. He had an epiphany. If he continued to stay, he would not gain anything. Lin Feng went deep into the underground world. His destination was the same as many others. He was going to the Godluo Cliff. The appearance of the Godluo Cliff's imperial weapon had shaken the entire desolate region. He believed that the 72 northern regions would also be shocked. However, he did not know who would get the imperial weapon in the end. On the way, Lin Feng saw a very beautiful female cultivator. This female cultivator wore a sapphire blue long dress, which perfectly displayed her exquisite and delicate figure. Her figure was curvy. Her face was exquisite and beautiful. She could definitely be called a stunner. Even Lin Feng could not help but take a few more glances at her. What are you looking at? Do you believe that I won't gouge your eyes out? Feeling Lin Feng's gaze, the beautiful woman looked coldly at Lin Feng. Since you're going out to train, you can naturally wear loose clothes. Since you're dressed like this, isn't it to be seen by men? Lin Feng did not look away. Instead, he carefully looked at the woman from top to bottom. Even though Lin Feng was used to seeing beautiful women, he had to admit that this woman was indeed exquisite. That curvy figure coupled with that beautiful face was enough to make any man have the impulse to commit a crime against her. Chapter 653. Watch how I teach you a lesson, you scoundrel. The beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng angrily, raised her right hand, and struck out. Lin Feng said, "First, I didn't flirt with you, and second, I didn't do anything excessive to you. Why are you attacking me? Are you still being unreasonable? I've already seen through your evil thoughts. I'm going to beat you up." The beautiful woman snorted. As soon as she finished speaking, she had already rushed in front of Lin Feng. A fist smashed out. Lin Feng dodged to the left, dodging the beautiful woman's attack. He circled behind the beautiful woman. When Lin Feng saw that the beautiful woman was being so unreasonable, he started to have some evil thoughts. He raised his right hand and fiercely slapped that perky and alluring place. Slap. It was accompanied by a loud slap. That perky and alluring place fiercely trembled. This feeling, it was simply invincible. You pervert. The beautiful woman covered her private place. her face so red that it could bleed. That place was something that even she would be embarrassed to touch. However, she was ruthlessly slapped by a man. Lin Feng put his right hand in front of his nose, smelled it, and nodded, saying, "It's really fragrant. I'm going to kill you." The beautiful woman screamed and pounced towards Lin Feng again. Slap. Another slap. The beautiful woman was embarrassed and angry. She glared fiercely at Lin Feng, wishing that she could cut Lin Feng into pieces. "You're not my match. If you continue to be unreasonable, do you believe that I won't drag you into the forest and do you on the spot?" Lin Feng smiled at the beautiful woman's perfect body and exquisite face. "Haha, brother. We support you." A group of cultivators who were watching the show jeered. The beautiful woman stomped her feet hatefully. She knew that she was not Lin Feng's match. If she continued to attack, she would only be taken advantage of by Lin Feng. She gritted her teeth and said, "Just you wait, I won't let you off." Then, he stomped his feet unwillingly and flew off into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. "Brother, why aren't you going? It's such a good opportunity." A cultivator said wretchedly, "Go up my ass. Didn't you see that girl's entire body is filled with treasures? Even his shoes are treasured artifacts. Who knows what kind of background he has?" Lin Feng laughed and scolded, "Brother, you have sharp eyes. I know that woman. She's from the Celestial Moon Mountain." A cultivator said, "Immortal Moon Mountain?" "Immortal Moon Mountain, ranked second among the 72 prefectures in the north?" Someone asked. "That's right, that's the organization. The Celestial Moon Mountain has been getting stronger and stronger over the years. It's said that they can compete with ancient organizations now." The cultivator said, "F***CK, then why are you still encouraging me to sleep with her? I despise all of you. You almost got me into big trouble." Lin Feng cursed. "Didn't you not go?" A cultivator said with a grin. 3 days later, when Lin Feng was resting in the forest, 2 men in brown robes flew past him. The 2 men emitted a sinister aura. Experts from the demons? Lin Feng was hiding at the top of the tree. He frowned when he saw the 2 evil cultivators. "Are you sure it's in front?" "I'm sure." "Very good. Have you prepared the items?" "It's ready." "Then let's do it." The 2 experts conversed as they flew into the distance. "What are these 2 up to?" Lin Feng muttered. He also quickly dashed out and tailed them. It didn't take long for the 2 evil demon experts to reach a small stream. One of them flew into the forest and disappeared. One of them dashed towards a woman who was resting by the stream. "Is that the girl from the Celestial Moon Mountain?" Lin Feng was slightly surprised. He hadn't expected to run into her here. Clearly, the target of these 2 evil demon experts was this woman. The 2 experts had their faces covered, so Lin Feng couldn't see their faces. One of them flew towards the woman from the Celestial Moon Mountain. "Who are you? Don't come over, or I won't be polite to you." The beautiful woman was quite alert. However, the expert didn't say anything and directly attacked. "You." The beautiful woman's expression suddenly changed. She took out a flying sword and slashed at the expert. The expert wielded a demon saber and slashed at the beautiful woman. From time to time, he would let out strange laughter. It was indescribably creepy. The beautiful woman was suppressed and kept retreating. She retreated until she reached a large tree. That evil demon expert who had been hiding in advance silently appeared. He slapped the beautiful woman's body. The beautiful woman immediately fainted and fell to the ground. "We got her. Let's go." The 2 evil demon experts laughed sinisterly as they carried the beautiful woman on their shoulders and flew into the distance. "What are they doing? Are they trying to humiliate her?" Lin Feng muttered and quickly chased after them. Soon, the 2 of them carried the beautiful woman into a mountain range and disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng chased after them and found a cave, so he entered it. Soon after, he heard lewd laughter coming from the cave. "Haha, I didn't expect Gu Yun to be caught by us. She's a pure girl from the Celestial Moon Mountain. Plucking her will be very beneficial to our cultivation." "That's right. After plucking her, we'll immediately return to the Yin-Yang Union sect to hide. No one will know that we did it." The 2 of them let out a series of lewd laughter. At this moment, Gu Yun-er's slender legs were entwined together. Her hands were also rubbing her body. Her whole body was pink. Her eyes were hazy. From time to time, she would moan. The drug is taking effect. We should have some fun. The two of them shouted excitedly and quickly took off their clothes. So they're from the Yin-Yang Union sect. Lin Feng was shocked. This was an extremely evil sect that cultivated the cultivation method of plucking and dual cultivation. Since Gu Yun-er had a purine body, no matter who it was that had sex with her, their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. Boom! At the moment when those two people were taking off their clothes, Lin Feng abruptly rushed towards them. Oh no, someone's ambushing us. The two of them were very strong. They immediately reacted. They attacked Lin Feng from the left and right. Die! Lin Feng punched twice. Bang bang! The two sides collided and the two of them were sent flying. Both of them were seriously injured and their faces were pale. Let's go! The two of them looked extremely gloomy and fled outside. Die! Lin Feng summoned the sword spirit. Sword chi swept towards the two of them. Pooh! The person behind them was hit by the sword chi and his body exploded. However, the person in front managed to escape. Lin Feng looked indifferent and was about to chase outside. Suddenly, a hot body wrapped around Lin Feng. Chapter 654. I'm so uncomfortable. Gu Yun-er hugged Lin Feng from behind, her voice trembling. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Gu Yun-er, only to find that Gu Yun-er's entire body was pink. Aphrodisiac? Lin Feng's face slightly changed. It was obvious that the two cultivators from the Yin-Yang Union sect gave Gu Yun-er an aphrodisiac. Gu Yun-er tore off her clothes. She tore Lin Feng's clothes. Her slender and straight legs wrapped around Lin Feng's waist. Her pink lips took the initiative to kiss Lin Feng. Quick, take me. Gu Yun-er was very crazy. Such a high-quality woman's temptation. It was impossible not to be tempted. Lin Feng also felt a burst of evil fire in his body. There seemed to be an evil voice echoing in his mind. This woman delivered herself to his door. Why not? She tore her clothes. Press her under his body. Enjoy it. Aleph asterisk CK your sister. Lin Feng quickly raised his middle finger to that evil thought. There were things that a gentleman should do and things that he shouldn't do. Although Lin Feng didn't think of himself as a gentleman, but at least he was a hot-blooded and righteous youth. How could he take advantage of someone in danger? He pressed the somewhat crazy Gu Yun-er on the bed. Looking at Gu Yun-er's pink face and torn clothes, he took a deep breath. Then he took out a detoxification pill. Lin Feng himself was an earth-stage alchemist. If he couldn't even detoxify the aphrodisiac, then he shouldn't stay here. After taking the pill, the pink color on Gu Yun-er's body began to fade. Lin Feng touched Gu Yun-er's forehead. Her originally boiling hot body also gradually recovered. Obviously, the aphrodisiac's effect was waning. At this time, Gu Yun-er's blurred eyes finally returned to normal. Then, she saw a scene that made her incomparably ashamed and angry. Her legs were separated and still wrapped around this man's body, and her clothes were torn. The belt of her underwear was even broken, exposing her snow-white spring, and the man in front of her was about to press down on her body. Arg! I'll kill you. Gu Yun-er came up and slapped a palm towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng hurriedly dodged. He said, Are you being unreasonable? It was the two cultivators from the Yin-Yang Union sect who captured you. I saved you. How could Gu Yun-er listen to this? She quickly took out her clothes and put them on. Tears flowed out of her eyes. When he passed out, what did this bastard do to her? Just now, the clothes on his upper body were torn? Am I right? Had he already taken advantage of her? Thinking of this, Gu Yun-er's body slightly trembled. The only fortunate thing was that he didn't feel any pain. She probably hadn't been violated yet. But even if she wasn't violated, Gu Yun-er still felt endless humiliation. She summoned her flying sword and slashed at Lin Feng. You're being unreasonable. I can't be bothered to argue with you. Lin Feng sent the flying sword flying with a punch and then rushed out of the cave. Gu Yun-er squatted on the ground and began to cry. If I knew you were so unreasonable, I wouldn't have saved you. I would have done it with you. Lin Feng shouted angrily. However, he put himself in their shoes and thought about it. If he was a woman, what would he think when he saw the scene just now? Half-naked body, staying with a strange man. In this world, women still cherish their chastity. Many women even valued their chastity more than their own lives. This wasn't a world where one could get a room with a man after knowing him for 3 hours. Lin Feng returned, planning to properly explain to Gu Yun-er. When he returned, Gu Yun-er had already left. Lin Feng shook his head slightly and walked outside. When he came outside, more than 10 cultivators rushed over. Each of them had an evil aura. People from the Yin-Yang Union sect. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. Brat, you still haven't left? Seems like our luck isn't bad. The cultivator who ran away before said with resentment. Lin Feng coldly looked at the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Union sect and said, What? Are you here to seek revenge? Another cultivator from the Yin-Yang Union sect sneered and said, If you kill someone from my Yin-Yang Union sect, no one in the world can save you? Impudent. How dare you talk to me like that? You're simply courting death. Lin Feng's gaze was cold. Brat, what are you trying to show off for? An 8th-layer martial king dares to jump around in front of us? The group of cultivators from the Yin-Yang Union sect sneered. On their side, there were as many as 6 cultivators in the 10th heaven of the martial king realm. Naturally, they were full of confidence. Lin Feng sneered. You're simply courting death. Attack. Kill this brat. A 10th-layer martial king cultivator from the Yin-Yang Union sect sneered. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Following that, more than 10 cultivators rushed towards Lin Feng. Sky-splitting. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Buzz. A resplendent saber light swept out. I can't move. The cultivators of the Yin-Yang Union sect all cried out in fear. They were shocked to find that they could no longer move their bodies. Under the deterrence of sky-splitting, they didn't even have the strength to resist. Puff. The sound of bodies being torn apart could be heard. One by one, the cultivators of the Yin-Yang Union sect were killed by Lin Feng on the spot. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he walked into the distance. The ground was littered with corpses. Night fell. The night of the underground world was getting darker and darker. It was so dark that one couldn't even see their own fingers. Roar. The roar resounded through the clouds. In the distance, a ferocious beast let out an earth-shattering roar. Under the night sky, a cultivator quickly flew past. What happened? Lin Feng stopped one of them and asked. An ancient cultivator's cave called Macho's Cave has appeared, the cultivator said. An ancient cultivator's cave? Lin Feng was shocked. Many ancient cultivators' cave dwellings hid amazing things. Inheritances, magic treasures, pills, and so on. Once an ancient cultivator's cave dwelling appeared, it would often attract many people. Let's go and take a look. Lin Feng also flew into the distance. He was naturally very interested in ancient cultivators' cave dwellings. He wanted to find out more. He wanted to see what good things were inside. If there was an opportunity, it would be even better. Opportunities were hard to find for cultivators. But if one could find an opportunity, their cultivation would often advance by leaps and bounds. Not long after, Lin Feng arrived at the mountain forest. This place was originally protected by a powerful restriction, but many years had passed. The restriction disappeared. Only then did Macho's cave appear in front of everyone. There were 3 ferocious beasts guarding Macho's cave. The first ferocious beast was a 100-meter-long python. The second ferocious beast was actually a yaksha, Earth Devil Yaksha. It had a long lifespan. It was ferocious by nature. Lin Feng sensed it and found that the Earth Devil Yaksha was a puppet beast. The third ferocious beast was a huge blue scorpion, but it was too strange. It had 2 heads. The left head was a scorpion's head. The right head was a lion's head. This was a lion scorpion, a ferocious beast that was highly poisonous. These 3 ferocious beasts were the guardians of Macho's cave. They blocked the entrance of the cave and confronted the cultivators. Chapter 655. Attack. Many cultivators shouted. They attacked without hesitation. Boom, 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 boom. Following that, all sorts of powerful attacks erupted. They charged towards the ferocious beasts. That kind of power was truly shocking. The combined attacks of so many cultivators were naturally powerful. The three beasts roared continuously. They were also powerful enough to withstand the attacks of the crowd. Everyone, follow me and slay this beast. A cultivator stepped forward. Mu Wuxiu. Someone was shocked, recognizing that cultivator. He looked to be about 27 or 28 years old and exuded a shocking aura. This person was not simple. He was the son of the Northern Wilderness City's city lord. Attack. Dozens of cultivators immediately joined forces and attacked the python with Mu Wuxiu. Yin-Yang Realm Cultivation. Lin Feng rubbed his chin and looked at Mu Wuxiu. This person was terrifying. Everyone, follow me and slay this yaksha puppet. Another person stepped forward. It was a woman. She wore a snow-white dress that made her look like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Her skin was smooth and supple. Was this the type of woman they were talking about? Her skin was snow-white, and her figure was tall and charming. Her long legs were accentuated by her dress, making her look very alluring. It was a beautiful and moving face. However, his face had an ice-cold expression. She looked like a cold goddess. She was also a yin-yang realm cultivator. Song Qian. Many people were surprised. Song Qian was the princess of the barbarian kingdom. Lin Feng rubbed his chin. The barbarian kingdom was a subordinate force of the Blue Cloud sect. They were different from the ingrates of the Qingyang sect. Although the barbarian kingdom was very powerful, they still had a close relationship with the Blue Cloud sect. Lin Feng had heard that the barbarian kingdom had several yin-yang realm cultivators. He did not expect the princess of the barbarian kingdom to be so powerful. This surprised Lin Feng. Many people followed Song Qian and attacked the yaksha puppets. I'll deal with the third beast. Another person stepped forward. This person wore a starry robe and had a handsome face. He had no intention of restraining his aura. He displayed his yin-yang realm strength to the people around him. He Hongxian, you've actually broken through to the yin-yang realm. Song Qian was slightly surprised. That's right. I broke through a month ago. He Hongxian laughed loudly and was extremely pleased with himself. Song Qian nodded and did not say anything else. He Hongxian, the genius of Xinjian Villa, someone whispered. As one of the 4 major forces in the Waste region, the disciples cultivated by the deity Sword Villa were naturally not simple. He Hongxian was flamboyant. However, with his yin-yang realm strength, he did have the right to be arrogant. Let's kill this scorpion. He Hongxian wielded his long sword and slashed out. Sword chi crisscrossed and slashed towards the ferocious beast. Boom, boom, boom. These cultivators were roughly divided into 3 groups. They launched a fierce attack on the beast. A fierce battle ensued. The 3 ferocious beasts were gradually losing their strength. They were killed one after another. Whoosh, whoosh. The 3 yin-yang cultivators took the lead and flew into the cave. The rest of the people also swarmed in and rushed into the cave. Macho. Lin Feng looked at the name of the abode. This name was a little strange, and more or less made people feel a little sad. Lin Feng did not think too much and entered the cave. There were many stone rooms in the cave. Many of the stone rooms had stone doors with restrictions on them. Many cultivators were already breaking the restrictions on the stone doors. Stone rooms were constantly being opened. Medicinal pills, soon. An excited voice came from one of the stone rooms. Then, the sound of fighting could be heard. Many cultivators were fighting. When Lin Feng arrived, a large amount of blood flowed out of the stone room. The ground was filled with corpses. Many people were locked in a life-and-death struggle over the medicinal pills. It was a tragic sight. Lin Feng did not enter to fight for the pills. He was an earth-tier alchemist. Medicinal pills were not that attractive to him. Another stone door was opened. Lin Feng entered. Many people went crazy for the things inside. There were Dharma treasures and some scrolls. There was also a dressing table. This is a female cultivator's abode? Lin Feng was surprised. He walked towards the dressing table and saw a piece of silk. There was a poem written on the silk. Grass grows under the dragon mound. Crows make noise on the city walls. Who is in this city? Pomegranates grow in the corners of the city. Black hair tied to 5 horses, golden hair tied to 2 oxen. White fish steered a lotus boat. swimming 10 miles at night. Returned without anyone knowing. Secretly went to Agarwood Inn. The gauze bed leaned on Yao Se. The waning moon bent the curtain hooked. Today the hibiscus flowers fall. Tomorrow the paulownia trees fall. If I fail to do business, how can I be called macho? This poem was about a woman's longing and waiting for the man she loved. But in the end, only endless sadness and sorrow were left, because the woman did not wait for the man to come. Macho, macho, is this female cultivator called macho? Lin Feng murmured. If this poem was written by a woman called macho, it could be seen that even in death, she could not forget the love in her heart. As the saying goes, in heaven we are willing to be birds flying wing to wing. On earth we are willing to be intertwined branches. But how many couples in the world could do this? Most of them only saw the new person smile, but not the old person cry. Perhaps this macho was an old person? Feelings were the most difficult thing in the world to understand. Giving one's heart. What one received was often hurt. It seems that no matter how strong one's cultivation is, it is difficult to cut off the feelings in one's heart. Lin Feng murmured. Suddenly, his gaze was attracted by a bronze mirror on the dressing table. Bronze, Lin Feng was shocked. In this era, bronze represented a very special meaning. Tracing back, it was even before the Desolate Era. There was a great era called the Bronze Age. That era left a glorious chapter in history because of the abundance of bronze wares. Any one of the bronze artifacts possessed the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. For example, Lin Feng had the bronze fragment. According to the Fire Qilin, it had reached the level of a holy emperor weapon. This was a supreme being-level magic treasure. And now, bronze had long been difficult to find. Even if some bronze had been passed down, they would be collected by the top forces to stabilize the sect's fate. Now, this mirror was actually made of bronze. This made Lin Feng very surprised. It can't be a bronze, right? Lin Feng murmured. Bronze was a material that could not be found in the Bronze Age. Obviously, this bronze mirror had a very long history. Lin Feng held the bronze mirror in his hand and inserted a strand of energy into it. Buzz. The bronze mirror emitted a shocking fluctuation. What a treasure! Lin Feng was shocked. Many cultivators were alarmed. A dozen or so cultivators walked over. Their eyes were full of greed as they looked at the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand. A cultivator looked at Lin Feng indifferently. Boy, hand over the bronze mirror and we will spare your life. Chapter 656. The eyes of these cultivators were cold and their expressions were cold. They were all determined to win. Bronze artifact. Many cultivators stared at the treasure in Lin Feng's hand. They were shocked and their eyes were burning. Some of the top bronze artifacts were comparable to sacred emperor weapons. Compared to the legendary imperial armaments, they were only slightly inferior. Even the weakest bronze artifact, its might, was probably not inferior to a Dao armament. It was definitely an amazing treasure. The person who attacked is called Nangong Tai. These people are experts from the Dharma sect. Let's wait and see. We can't win, a cultivator said. His companions who wanted to attack could only sigh. The Dharma sect was one of the 4 major forces of the Waste region. They were superior. Who would dare to offend the Dharma sect? Get lost now, and I'll spare your lives. Lin Feng glanced coldly at the people from the Dharma sect. He had always been a strong person. Why would he be afraid of being threatened? The cultivators from the Dharma sect saw that Lin Feng, a mere 8th firmament martial king, dared to tell them to get lost. The faces of these people immediately turned ashen. In their opinion, apart from the 3 Yin-Yang realm cultivators, they could not afford to offend anyone else. Who could they not afford to offend after entering Mo Chao's cave? After all, they had many people and experts. Brat, do you want to die? A cultivator from the Dharma sect sneered and stepped forward. He was a 9th firmament martial king expert. If you kneel and kowtow now, we can spare your lives. If you don't know what's good for you, we'll let you taste a fate worse than death. The cultivator from the Dharma sect said sinisterly. The other cultivators from the Dharma sect also looked like they were waiting to watch a good show. Lin Feng said indifferently, the Dharma sect is one of the 4 major sects of the Waste region. Are the disciples raised by the Dharma sect like you? A group of people gathered together. You don't do good things, but do bad things? What a sharp-tongued brat. I'll break your bones. The expression of the ninth-layer Martial King realm cultivator from the Dharma sect suddenly darkened. Then, he leaped forward. He attacked Lin Feng with his palm. You really don't know what death is. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, although there were many experts among these people. But to him, they were just a bunch of clowns. Lin Feng coldly glanced at the 10,000 Laws sect's cultivator who was attacking him. He planned to use this person to test the power of the bronze mirror. Pure energy poured into the bronze mirror. Whoosh! A green light shone from the bronze mirror. It enveloped the 10,000 Laws sect cultivator. The next moment, a loud bang was heard. Not even a scream could be heard. The body of the 10,000 Laws sect disciple exploded. He turned into a cloud of blood mist. He died on the spot. Seeing this scene, everyone revealed a shocked expression. Hiss! Then, a series of gasps could be heard. That was an expert in the ninth heaven of the Martial King realm. With a light shine from the bronze mirror, it instantly turned into a bloody mist. Wasn't the bronze mirror too powerful? What a powerful bronze mirror! As expected of a bronze artifact, it's really a peerless treasure. Many people's eyes were fixed on the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand. Everyone's eyes were filled with an incomparably fiery gaze. This was definitely a top-grade treasure. Let's go together and kill this kid. The leader of the 10,000 Laws sect, Nangong Tai, shouted in a low voice. One of their people was killed by Lin Feng with the bronze mirror. The people of the 10,000 Laws sect were not afraid at all. Instead, they looked at the bronze mirror with even more burning eyes. Because of the attack just now, it had already proved the power of the bronze mirror. Killing Lin Feng, taking the bronze mirror. This was a heaven-defying opportunity. Whoosh! A cold light flashed. The 10,000 Laws sect's disciples took out their magic treasures. Flying swords, mountain river seal, dark heavy ruler, jade battle axe, and so on. All kinds of magic treasures. They flickered with astonishing fluctuations. More than a dozen magic treasures all rushed towards Lin Feng. Facing the attacks of the 10,000 Laws sect's disciples, Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He still only used the bronze mirror to block these people's attacks. The bronze mirror shone slightly. Bang, bang, bang. One magic treasure after another began to crack. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen magic treasures with astonishing power were directly shattered. This bronze mirror is too powerful, right? Many people were shocked. It was simply unbelievable. The power displayed by the bronze mirror was somewhat outrageous. What a good treasure. Lin Feng loved it so much that he couldn't put it down. He now had a few powerful treasures. First of all, the demon orb. This treasure was not only powerful, but also very demonic. However, Lin Feng could not activate it. The shimmering demon book, like the demon orb, was too demonic. Lin Feng could not activate it. The Saint Emperor Stone was now in a dormant state and could not be activated. Black Dragon Sword, a sealed divine sword. To activate it, one needed to consume blood essence. It was very harmful to the body. The bronze fragment. Every time it was activated, the body's strength would be instantly devoured. The side effects were too great. If one could not kill the opponent by activating the bronze fragment, the one who would die would be himself. The heaven-swallowing jar. Now, it was in a broken state. It could devour all kinds of magic treasures. It also had a certain degree of confinement. However, it could not kill the enemy. Therefore, Lin Feng seemed to have a lot of treasures. But in reality, there were only a few that could be used. And this bronze mirror was definitely suitable for Lin Feng. Activate your martial soul to kill him. Seeing that the magic treasures were also destroyed by the bronze mirror, Nangong Tai could not help but shout coldly and decided to use his final trump card. That was his martial soul. More than a dozen Dharma sect cultivators all activated their martial souls. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of terrifying energy wreaked havoc. Powerful martial souls were activated one after another. A beast martial soul roared towards the sky. A tool martial soul shook the void. A darkness martial soul devoured light. All kinds of martial souls. There was everything. More than a dozen martial souls were activated, and all of them attacked Lin Feng. You don't know what's good for you. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile coldly when facing those people's attacks. He held the bronze mirror in his hand. His right hand shook the bronze mirror slightly. Buzz! A green light suddenly swept out. When it came into contact with the green light, the martial souls directly shattered. Then, the green light swept across the bodies of the Dharma sect cultivators. Then, one by one, the bodies of the Dharma sect cultivators exploded. They died on the spot. These Dharma sect cultivators were naturally strong. However, they could not resist the bronze mirror's attack at all. Run! These Dharma sect cultivators were scared out of their wits. They turned around and fled outside. But they couldn't escape at all. Lin Feng shook his wrist. The bronze mirror swept out a green light. Immediately after, a Dharma sect cultivator was swept by it. His body exploded. He died on the spot. Not long after, only the leader, Nangong Tai, was left of the dozen or so Dharma sect cultivators. Spare me, brother. Spare my life. I'll agree to whatever conditions you have. Nangong Tai looked at Lin Feng with a pleading gaze. Lin Feng ignored this person's pleading. He shook the bronze mirror. A green light flew out and swept across Nangong Tai's body. Bang! Nangong Tai's body also exploded. It turned into a bloody mist. He was killed by the bronze mirror in one blow. Chapter 657. Dead. So many experts from the Dharma sect are dead. That brat's bronze mirror is too powerful. What a powerful treasure! Everyone stared at the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand. Many people had the thought of snatching it. Lin Feng naturally knew how terrifying cultivators could be when they were greedy. He sneered. Who else wants to die? Come out quickly. I'll send you on your way. Many cultivators' expressions changed. Lin Feng had used the bronze mirror to kill a group of cultivators from the Dharma sect. It was still vivid in their minds. Many people suppressed the greed in their hearts. Lin Feng looked away. He continued to search the dressing table. He wanted to see if he could find any other treasures. After searching for a while, Lin Feng found some simple jewelry. However, it wasn't a powerful treasure. However, Macho had placed half a piece of jade in a red sandalwood box. It was on the jade. It was wrapped in a layer of silk. Obviously, Macho treasured the jade very much. Half a piece of jade. Why does Senior Macho treasure it so much? Lin Feng muttered. He held the half piece of jade in his hand and observed it for a while. He discovered that there were 3 words engraved on it. Luo Shinqiu. The words Luo Shinqiu were engraved on it. Is this a name? Lin Feng frowned. Could it be that the man Senior Macho waited for so many years and died without seeing him return as Luo Shinqiu? Lin Feng put away the jade. Junior obtained Senior's bronze mirror and is fated to meet Senior. If one day I see Luo Shinqiu and he falls in love with someone else, I will burn an incense stick for Senior so that Senior can forget about him. If he still remembers Senior, I will bring him back to burn incense for Senior. Lin Feng muttered. He walked out of the stone room. There were more than a dozen stone rooms here. No one dared to enter the room that the 3 Yin-Yang realm cultivators had broken open. No matter what treasures were in the room, they all belonged to them. Others had no fate with it. Lin Feng looked at the stone door in the deepest part of the cave. This stone door was the largest. It was 8 meters tall. It was 5 meters wide. This should be the main room. This stone door doesn't have any restrictions. How strange, Lin Feng muttered. He walked forward and tried to push open the stone door. But what surprised Lin Feng was that even with his strength, he was unable to push the stone door open. It was too heavy. One of the cultivators said, "This is a dark sky demonic stone. It's the size of a grain of rice and is equivalent to the weight of a 10,000-meter tall mountain. How heavy can such a huge stone door be?" Holy shit. If that's the case, then this stone door is a treasure as well? Lin Feng said in surprise. Of course it's a treasure. It can be melted down into a furnace and made into a powerful weapon. But the owner of the cave has already fused it with the door. Ordinary cultivators can't take it off, but if an almighty cultivator comes, maybe they can try. The cultivator said, "Get out of the way." At that moment, a sneer was heard. He Hongxian walked over with an arrogant expression. He Hongxian was in the yin-yang realm. Even though he had just broken through, he was still in the yin-yang realm. But no one dared to underestimate him. The cultivators in front of the stone door hurriedly made way for He Hongxian. At that moment, Mu Wushu and Song Qian walked over. Brat, didn't you hear what I said? Do you think you can peek into the main room? Get lost. He Hongxian looked coldly at Lin Feng. His expression was extremely arrogant. Lin Feng sneered and said, You can peek into the main room's stone door, but I can't? How ridiculous. How dare you talk to me like that? Do you want to die? He Hongxuan's expression immediately darkened. After breaking through to the yin-yang realm, who dared to be so rude to him? Lin Feng was the first. This made He Hongxian extremely angry. You can be so arrogant just because you're in the yin-yang realm? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Brat, that's because yin-yang realm cultivators are superior and look down on the heavens. He Hongxian said proudly. Bah, look down on the heavens? Even almighty beings don't dare to say such things. I really don't know where you get the courage to say such things when you just broke through to the yin-yang realm. I feel ashamed for you. Lin Feng pursed his lips. Many people were completely dumbfounded. A martial king cultivator was actually arguing with He Hongxian, a yin-yang realm cultivator. He Hongxian wasn't a kind person. Did this brat have a death wish? Song Qian frowned slightly and looked at Lin Feng thoughtfully. When Mu Wushu saw Lin Feng, he was clearly stunned. Then, a faint smile appeared on his face. Mu Wushu was the son of the Northern Desolation City's city lord. There was a 70% to 80% chance that he had seen Lin Feng before. After all, Demon Saber Nailin had appeared in Northern Desolation City that day. All the major powers in Northern Desolation City were in a state of extreme vigilance and nervousness. However, Lin Feng and Demon Saber Nailin had been drinking in the tower for an entire night. Just thinking about it was a bit unbelievable. Reckless brat, I'll let you know how stupid it is to offend a yin-yang realm cultivator. He Hongxuan's expression was gloomy. He took a step forward. He sent a palm strike toward Lin Feng. Clearly, He Hongxian knew that he couldn't win against Lin Feng in a war of words, so he planned to directly attack. The world of cultivators. In the end, the strong were respected. He Hongxian has made a move. That brat is probably going to suffer. I wonder if He Hongxian will kill that brat later? That's hard to say. He Hongxian is arrogant and ruthless. I wouldn't be surprised if he killed that brat. Many people were discussing. Clearly, in everyone's opinion, facing the attack of He Hongxian, a yin-yang realm cultivator, Lin Feng didn't have any strength to resist. The gap between the martial king realm and the yin-yang realm was too big. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. In the face of He Hongxuan's attack, Lin Feng sneered. He directly took out the bronze mirror. Lin Feng wanted to test the power of this treasure. Killing a martial king was as easy as crushing an ant. What if he faced a yin-yang realm cultivator? When they saw Lin Feng take out the bronze mirror, many people's eyelids twitched violently. After all, only a small number of cultivators saw Lin Feng take out the bronze mirror. Most people didn't see it. Is it a bronze artifact? Some cultivators exclaimed. Naturally, everyone knew what a bronze artifact meant. Even Mu Wushu and Song Qian's eyelids twitched violently when they saw the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand. Brat, I didn't expect you to have such a treasure. This treasure is mine. He Hongxian looked at the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand with a greedy gaze. He quickly rushed over and reached out to grab the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand. Buzz. At that moment, the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand swept out with a green light. Then, it swept over He Hongxian. Bang! The power of this attack was shocking. It directly sent He Hongxian flying. Wah! He Hongxian actually spat out a mouthful of blood. His body crashed heavily into the stone door, and his face instantly turned as pale as paper. Chapter 658. Isn't this bronze mirror too powerful? It's really a heaven-defying treasure. Even He Hongxian couldn't resist the bronze mirror's power. Voices of discussion rose and fell. Many people looked at the bronze mirror in Lin Feng's hand in shock. This treasure was truly too terrifying. Many people's eyes burned with greed. but they wanted the bronze mirror's power. The desire in many people's hearts was suppressed. Even an expert like He Hongxian couldn't resist the bronze mirror's power. What about them? If they tried to steal it, wouldn't they be courting death? Brat, I'm going to kill you. He Hongxuan's handsome face twisted. He had never been humiliated like this before. Killing intent surged in his heart. He just wanted to tear Lin Feng to pieces. He wanted to take revenge. I told you. So what if you're in the Yin Yang realm? You're just a frog in a well. You don't even know your ancestors' names anymore. Lin Feng's mouth twitched as if he was joking. He Hongxian was about to go crazy. His eyes were filled with killing intent. If looks could kill, Lin Feng had already been cut to pieces by He Hongxuan's gaze. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me, He Hongxian shouted. A cold light flashed in his hand, and a treasured sword flew out. The treasured sword had pictures of wind, thunder, rain, and snow on it. These pictures represented the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. This treasured sword was called the 4-seasons sword. It was made of a kind of deep-sea ice stone. It was a rare treasure. 10,000 swords god-killing technique. He Hongxian immediately displayed a powerful swordsmanship. Dense sword qi intertwined and surrounded Lin Feng from all directions. He Hongxian was worthy of being a Yin Yang realm expert. When he used the 10,000 swords god-killing technique, it was indeed powerful. The sword qi swept across the sky. The terrifying power made people's hair stand on end. Many people paled when they felt the power of the 10,000 swords god-killing technique. Deity Sword Villa's sword techniques are indeed exquisite. A total of 999 sword qis. This He Hongxian really is a genius. He actually comprehended the myriad sword god-killing art to the level of 999 strands of sword qi. That little boy is in danger. He's surrounded by sword qi. Even though the bronze mirror is extremely powerful, it can't destroy all the sword qi. Many people were talking about it. The power displayed by He Hongxuan's myriad sword god-killing technique was indeed too terrifying. In many people's eyes, Lin Feng was going to die. After all, Lin Feng was only a martial king. His strength was not enough to challenge He Hongxian. Only cultivators of the same level would be able to withstand He Hongxuan's attack. As for Lin Feng, only death awaited him. Heaven-devouring jar. Just as the densely packed sword qi was about to slash down, Lin Feng waved his left hand. The heaven-devouring jar flew out. Is this also a magic treasure? What the hell is this? Many people rolled their eyes. But at that moment, Lin Feng activated the heaven-devouring jar. The heaven-devouring jar's power surged out. The densely packed sword qi was directly devoured. Then, the bronze mirror shot out a beam of green light. Once again, He Hongxian was sent flying. Wah! He Hongxian spat out a mouthful of blood. His face became even paler and uglier. That broken jar actually devoured He Hongxuan's sword qi. Many people were shocked. They stared at Lin Feng's 2 treasures in shock. Little boy, if you didn't have these 2 treasures, killing you would be as easy as crushing an ant. He Hongxian roared. Lin Feng looked at He Hongxian as if he was an idiot. What's the point of saying all this? I don't even want to fight with you. I can beat you up with my magic treasure. The corners of many people's mouths twitched. This kind of battle was too depressing. He clearly had the advantage in terms of strength. But what was the use of being strong? In the world of cultivators, there were too many factors that could determine victory. For example, magic treasures, and Lin Feng was using 2 powerful magic treasures. One was attacking. The other was devouring his opponent's attack. The 2 of them worked together, beating He Hongxian. Little boy, don't be too happy. I have a way to deal with you. He Hongxuan's face was gloomy. Buzz. He Hongxuan's dantian shone brightly. Martial spirit. He Hongxian was about to activate his martial spirit. He's about to use his trump card. I wonder what He Hongxuan's martial spirit is? He Hongxian was able to break through to the Yin Yang realm. His martial spirit must be extraordinary. Many onlookers looked at He Hongxian. A strange energy was emitted from He Hongxuan's body. Soon, the energy enveloped the entire stone room. When that energy enveloped Lin Feng was stunned. Lin Feng suddenly felt that the connection between him and the bronze mirror and the heaven-devouring jar had become very weak. What's this? Lin Feng was very surprised. Ha ha ha, little boy, this is my martial spirit. It's an isolating martial spirit. It can isolate the connection between objects. Now, I've used my isolating martial spirit to isolate you from the two magic treasures. You can't use them anymore. He Hongxian laughed complacently. Lin Feng was very surprised. He said, this martial spirit is really strange. Little boy, it's about time to end this. He Hongshuan's face was filled with killing intent. He held his sword and jumped forward. He can't use his magic treasures. That little boy is going to die, right? Many people cried out in alarm. In the onlookers' eyes, Lin Feng was relying on his two magic treasures. But now, Lin Feng couldn't even use his magic treasures. He was definitely going to die. He's going to lose. He'll probably be killed by He Hongxian. Song Qian shook her head. That's not necessarily true. Mu Wushu stared at Lin Feng. Song Qian looked at Mu Wushu in surprise and said, Brother Mu, why do you think so highly of him? After all, he's only a martial king. He's the strongest martial king I've seen in so many years. Mu Wushu murmured. The scene of the battle at the peak of northern Wasteland City appeared in his mind. Mu Wushu could naturally feel it. Compared to the battle at northern Wasteland City, Lin Feng had become even stronger. Did he break through again? Mu Wushu narrowed his eyes. His gaze was sharp. Song Qian was very surprised. She didn't know why Mu Wushu thought so highly of Lin Feng. Her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Feng. At that moment, Song Qian saw, facing He Hongshuan's attack, Lin Feng put away the magic treasures that he couldn't use for the time being. He stretched out his left hand. On his left hand, a dazzling blade of light condensed. He stretched out his right hand. On his right hand, a terrifying sword chi condensed in an instant. Blade of light. Sword chi. Blade and sword fusion. Lin Feng shouted in a low voice. Boom, boom. As the terrifying aura spread out, everyone saw it. A huge blade of light and sword chi fused together in the air. It instantly attacked He Hongxian. Bang! The two sides fiercely collided. As if struck by lightning, He Hongxian was blasted away. His body was torn apart by the sword chi and the blade of light. Blood dripped. In an instant, he was covered in blood. It was extremely miserable.